Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. High Martial Arts Era. Starting with a 100,000-fold increase in comprehension. Chapter 61. The red dandelion was like a wave of spiritual impact, and Zhang Yuan, whose spiritual realm was as solid as a rock, showed an expectant look on his face. A third-level spiritual beast. This is the first time I have seen one. I wonder what will happen. Just as he was about to make a move, he heard a shocking voice. Yes, it's you. Turning his head to look, Luo Shi looked at him in shock, as if he had seen a ghost. Horror, astonishment, sluggishness, shock, unbelievable. The pressure just now, was it you? Zhang Yuan glanced at her. The moment she saw the pair of blazing golden eyes, the terrifying pressure that she was familiar with instantly overwhelmed her mind, causing her to fall into a state of great fear and panic. The already broken spiritual realm instantly collapsed. The defense was wide open. Zhang Yuan was trying to resist the external spiritual power of the third-level beast, but it accidentally invaded. In an instant, all of Luo Zai's memories and secrets from childhood to adulthood were like an open album, completely and exposed in Zhang Yuan's mind. At the age of 1, she took her first steps. At the age of 3, she took a bath with her mother Luo Ningyan. At the age of 6, she went to primary school and wore a primary school uniform. Because of her noble status and cute appearance, she became the most popular girl in the primary school. At the age of 10, she began to learn the method of visualization and took a medicinal bath every night. At the age of 12, her body began to develop. She felt strange about the changes in her breasts and asked her mother. At the age of 15, she entered high school and became a well-deserved school beauty. However, she felt that her face was not as good-looking as Lin Qingyan, but her figure was better. She secretly wore black stockings with letters. At the age of 17, she became a first-level transfer warrior. She firmly believed that she could awaken her S-level talent. She believed that no boy in the school was worthy of her who was both powerful and beautiful. However, she was full of fantasies about love between men and women. She would hide in the quilt every night to read female novels. After accidentally reading all of Luo Zai's memories and knowing all her secrets, Zhang Yuan looked at Luo Shi again, and his expression became a little strange. I didn't expect that the goddess Luo Shi, who was known as the most popular girl in school, would be so different in private. She actually wore that kind of clothes and socks to take selfies. But I have to say, it's really tempting. Thinking of Luo Shi and her mother, Luo Ningyan, the president of the Pharmacist Association, taking a bath together. Zhang Yuan felt his nose getting hot. It was really too awesome. You, Luo Shi also realized what happened, and looked at Zhang Yuan's face turning red, feeling extremely ashamed and angry. You actually. Buzz. The red dandelion sent out a powerful mental wave again. With his mind damaged and his memory exposed, Luo Shi, who suffered a huge mental blow, could no longer hold on and fainted directly. The red dandelion created countless illusions near Zhang Yuan, and all kinds of strange beauties grew out of the vines and stretched out their arms towards Zhang Yuan. Get lost. Zhang Yuan's eyes condensed. Skill, spiritual thorn. Poke. The extremely hot, condensed spiritual power turned into several iron nails, fiercely piercing into the spiritual realm of the red dandelion. Accompanied by a shrill scream, all illusions disappeared. Hiss. The red dandelion wailed and burned, revealing a half-reduced blood bar on its head. Minus 28,238. It was originally a spiritual creature without a physical body. Once the spiritual realm was defeated, the external form would also collapse. After Zhang Yuan practiced the Great Sun Starry Sky visualization method, his spiritual power carried the attributes of burning, cutting, and wearing away, which was poisonous to this kind of spiritual body. Accompanied by a shrill scream that could destroy those with weak spirits. The red dandelion burst into its last struggle. Its body was shattered and annihilated, turning into several groups of red shadows that condensed into substance. Some flew towards Zhang Yuan, some flew towards the fainted Luo Shi, and the rest flew in all directions. Skill, spiritual parasitism. Ha. Zhang Yuan sneered. How could he let the prey run away? Mental intimidation. The magnificent pressure amplified by the Great Sun's extreme visualization method descended like a sky curtain, and several red shadows instantly fell into a quagmire. After waiting for the cooling time to pass, Zhang Yuan used the mental thorn again, splitting it into 10 and piercing the red shadows differentiated from the red dandelion. Several red shadows were burning and wailing, and their health was reduced to 0. Ding! You killed the scarlet dandelion LV22 and gained experience. Plus 2164. Ding! You get the spiritual crystal intermediate. Ding! You get the equipment, scarlet necklace rare high level. Ding! You get the equipment, scarlet ring rare high level. Ding! You get the skill book, telekinesis. Ding! You get the material, scarlet dandelion seeds. Ding! You get the item, scarlet necklace rare high level defensive spiritual accessories. Effect: after equipping, mental defense plus 20, mental recovery plus 20, can release mental barriers, resist 3 powerful mental attacks, 3/3. Scarlet ring rare high level offensive spiritual accessories. Effect: after equipping, mental attack plus 30, penetration plus 10. Active skill: fear. The stronger the user's mental attribute, the higher the effect on the enemy. After collecting the spoils, Zhang Yuan looked at Luoshi, who fainted on the ground. There is little mental power left, the physical strength is weak, and the spiritual realm is broken. If you can't hold on, wouldn't it be better to quit earlier? Why do you have to do this? Sighed. Zhang Yuan walked over and stuffed a nourishing flower he found in the dungeon into her mouth. Although it was not intentional, her mental breakdown was indeed related to him. And just now, he did, accidentally, read all her memories, and learned a few secrets that were useful to him. For example, how did she suddenly appear on the 7th floor? And the map prop related to the entrance to the flower market that she got from her memory. All of them are very useful to Zhang Yuan. And only when she wakes up and takes the initiative can he take out the prop in the warehouse. Zhang Yuan carried the fainted Luoshi on his shoulders, and couldn't help but sigh at her long white legs under her robe. Tisk tisk. As expected of the goddess of the school, her legs are so long. They are also very perky. But not as good as her mother's. Zhang Yuan carried her and continued to walk towards the depths of the 7th floor. The dead tree was covered with blood, and the dead tree was covered with blood. Hidden map insect sea cave. Go. As the necromancer girl controlled the skeleton insect army to attack the 2 people. The 3 people who had been deadlocked for a long time finally took action. The skeleton insect soldiers summoned by the silver-haired and gray-eyed girl not only have the attributes of their life, but can also use skills. A group of 2nd-level skeleton insect soldiers launched a charge, and the power was quite scary. Buzz buzz buzz. A large number of skeleton moths rushed towards Sha Qinghu in the storm against the attack of the wind blade. Each one was as big as a calf and densely packed. Wind blades dancing wildly. Sha Qinghu's voice was heard in the storm, and countless sharp wind blades shot out. If one blade was not enough to crush the skeleton insect soldiers, then 10 blades, 100 blades. The skeleton moths suffered heavy damage and fell like rain. But then, 2 huge skeleton dragonflies with bronze bones and bloodshot eyes flew into the storm at high speed, entangled with Sha Qinghu. Boom, boom, the ground shook and cracked, and several skeleton giant insects drilled out and bit towards Lin Qingyan. Freeze. With just 2 simple words, several 2nd-level skeleton giant insects were instantly frozen. Roar. 2 more skeleton flying insects flew from above, their forelimbs flashing sharp cold light. Lin Qingyan said calmly, "Here, fly still." The 2 skeleton flying insects fell instantly. Lin Qingyan came to the front with a sprinting step, clenched her fist and punched out. Black lightning flashed. Bang, bang. The 2 skeleton flying insects exploded. Pei Kongyan's eyes flickered slightly, and he said sincerely, "So powerful." Then, the gray light flashed on the staff in her hand. A large number of skeleton insect soldiers rushed towards Lin Qingyan, and then emitted a strange gray light. Bang, bang, bang. The explosions continued, directly submerging the area where Lin Qingyan stood. The powerful explosion wave made the entire cave vibrate and shake. Wait for the explosion to dissipate. A crystal ice shield appeared around her body. Lin Qingyan, who was unharmed, looked up at Pei Kongyan with a surprised expression. "You are not bad either." Boom. Just when the 3 were fighting happily, the cave suddenly shook violently. The 3 turned their heads and saw a big hole above the cave. A giant insect egg as big as a house, wrapped in a black spider web, fell to the ground. Before the three of them could react, a polluted spiritual whisper appeared in their minds, making them want to vomit. It seems to be the boss of this hidden map. Let's stop for now. Sha Qinghu regained his human form and spoke solemnly. A third-level regional boss is not easy to deal with. Sha Qinghu, I think we should join forces and wait until we pass the level. There is no need for that. Lin Qingyan looked at the giant insect egg and said lightly, I can solve it alone. Don't interfere. Pei Kongyan held the staff and said softly, me too. Sha Qinghu, what kind of people are these? Could it be that among the three of them, I, who is known as the #1 genius in Nanjong City, am the weakest? Cece. A large number of giant worms crawled out, revealing their hideous mouthparts and crawling towards the three people. Lost giant tree, deep in the 7th floor, the entrance to the flower ruins. Wu Ping, carrying a big sword, came here and breathed a sigh of relief. Finally here, teacher, thanks to your exploration. He didn't dare to think about it. If he hadn't listened to the old man and let him step into the trap house and be teleported to the 7th floor. If the old man hadn't reminded him to avoid the beasts and dangers along the way, he would have been eliminated long ago. This is the opportunity destined to belong to me. As expected, I am the protagonist of this world, the one with destiny. The young man thought excitedly in his heart. The old man's voice came from his mind, don't relax, there must be a gatekeeper here. Before the words fell, a huge black shadow fell from the sky and hit the road ahead. Bang! The ground shattered and the wind howled. Wu Ping looked up. This monster is 7 or 8 meters tall, with a black body like a hard armor, huge insect horns, and a spear in hand, exuding a fierce and terrifying momentum. Abyss Beast Dark Beetle Knight. Grade Elite. Level LV25. Skills Thrust, Slash, Huge Strength, Frenzy, Shockwave, Beetle Dance, Dark Devouring. Evaluation: a mutant beetle eroded by darkness, with very powerful combat capabilities. Hiss. Wu Ping took a breath. He is only LV10 now. Even with the rare hidden profession, Spellbreaker Swordsman and S-level talent, he is definitely not the opponent of the elite monster in front of him. Old teacher, what should I do now? The old man in the spiritual realm said. There is no way, you are sure you can't deal with it? I can only take over your body temporarily. But teacher, won't you consume your soul by doing this? It will cost a little, but compared with the benefits, it's worth it. Really, what is ahead? While taking over Wu Ping's body, the old man said, I'm afraid even the person who set up this copy probably didn't expect it. I also found out by chance. There is an amazing secret hidden in the ruins in front of you now. It will not only make you rise, but also be crucial to my recovery. Since we have come here, we can't give up halfway. While speaking, Wu Ping exuded a pale soul aura. He opened his eyes again, his eyes turned into a strange white, his hair fluttered, and he exuded a strong spiritual fluctuation. I haven't taken action for a long time. Whopping, said to the dark mutant beetle in front of him. This place, is forbidden. The dark mutant beetle took a step forward and rushed towards him with a spear in hand. Woo woo woo. I was seen naked, all of me was seen naked. I can't get married. Woo woo woo. Luo Shi sat on a broken log and cried loudly. Zhang Yuan stood beside him, lighting a bonfire and eating roasted insect meat, with a speechless face. Didn't I say it all? I didn't mean it. Woo woo woo. Hearing him speak, Luo Shi cried even louder, and bean-sized tears kept rolling down her charming and pure face. She cried like a child who had suffered a great injustice. Zhang Yuan didn't expect it either. Luo Shi, who was dubbed as a charming goddess, pure desire and cold beauty, rational beauty, mature queen, etc. in school, actually had such a contrasting side. If the boys and girls who admired her in school saw it, they would be shocked. Quote. Woo woo woo. Not only were all my secrets exposed, but my mental power also decreased, my mental field was damaged, and I don't know where my teleportation stone was blown away. Why am I so unlucky? Luo Shi cried with red eyes, and her pitiful appearance made me feel pity. Zhang Yuan looked at her with some sympathy. Okay, stop crying, eat something first. He handed over a skewer of barbecue. Luo Shi, who had been hungry for a long time, took a bite and cried again. Woo woo woo. There is no taste at all. As the daughter of an 8th-level spiritual powerhouse, a rich lady, a goddess who is the focus of everyone's attention in school, and a sought-after genius, it was the first time for her to suffer so much in one day. Puff. Zhang Yuan couldn't help laughing out loud. It's not that he has a low sense of humor, but he really couldn't help it. The cold and aloof school beauty who usually looks like a flower on a mountaintop and can only be admired from afar and not touched, crying with snot and tears, is so funny. The old man was so angry that he was beaten. Woo woo woo. I'm so miserable. You still laugh at me. Okay, I won't laugh anymore. Luo Shi cried and groaned twice again, wiped the corners of her eyes, and looked at Zhang Yuan with red-purple eyes. Tell me your warrior number. 9,893,720, what for? Luo Shi pulled out the panel and tapped her finger. A prompt popped up in front of Zhang Yuan instantly. Purple God, apply to join the team. Zhang Yuan looked at her in surprise. What are you doing? Teaming up. Please, I've said I didn't mean it. Besides, I saved your life and helped you stabilize the collapse of your mental field. Why should I team up with you? I want one more person to share my experience. Can you please not drag me down? Zhang Yuan spread his hands and said. Luo Shi looked up at him with tears in her eyes, as if she was about to cry again. I lost my teleportation stone. Do you think I can survive on the 7th floor in my current state? This expression, combined with her delicate and pure face, the purple robe that sets off her proud figure, and the long legs that are looming under the robe, is like a top-level charm skill, which is hard to resist. Although I am grateful that you saved me, who do you think caused the collapse of my mental field? What's more, you have seen all of my. A seductive blush appeared on her snow-white cheeks. Okay, stop talking. Zhang Yuan said hurriedly. Is it not enough that I agree to team up with you? A hint of joy flashed in Luo Zai's eyes. But I also have a condition. Zhang Yuan looked at her. Luo Shi hugged her chest in panic, blushing and said, you don't want to be so rude. Quote. What are you thinking about? I want the item called Flower Ruin's secret key that you put in the system warehouse. Is that so? Luo Shi realized that she was wrong and breathed a sigh of relief. She took out the item. Here you go. Such frankness and lack of defense made Zhang Yuan stunned for a moment. This kind of innocence is really full of contrast. He sighed in his heart and clicked to accept the team. After teaming up, you can see the level of your teammates. Luo Shi saw Zhang Yuan's warrior ID and level and couldn't help but be surprised. LV 16. She was only LV 8. How many beasts must have been killed to level up so quickly? How many points do you have now? Luo Shi couldn't help asking. More than 1,100. Zhang Yuan answered casually. More than 1,100. Luo Shi opened her mouth wide, in disbelief. Up to now, her points were only more than 300 points. Looking at the black-haired and golden-eyed boy beside her, Luo Shi, who had been called a genius since childhood, felt a sense of complete frustration for no reason. What talent did you awaken? Secret. Zhang Yuan ate the last skewer of barbecue, patted his butt and stood up. Let's go. When the two of them arrived at the entrance of Washu according to the map's prompts. Just saw, whooping, and the dark beetle knight fighting fiercely. Zhang Yuan was speechless. Wasn't I the first one to enter the hidden map? Why are they all running ahead of me? Boom, with a loud bang. The trampling attack of the dark beetle knight smashed the ground directly. Wu Ping, who was emitting a pale soul aura, flew backwards into the air. He clasped his hands together, and the void in front of him shook. A group of gray soul flames hit the dark beetle knight. Minus 7,842. Minus 8,473. Minus 7,439. A large amount of mental damage jumped out from the top of the dark beetle knight's head. Luo Shi was very surprised. That guy named Wu Ping is so powerful. Zhang Yuan stared at Wu Ping with deep eyes, thinking to himself, this mental power is very strong, it doesn't seem to be his own. There is something strange about him. Could it be parasitism? Swoosh. The dark beetle knight waved the spear in his hand, and a black spear light more than 10 meters long passed through the air, slashing at Wu Ping. Skill, slash. Wu Ping dodged immediately, and his whole body changed, and green scales appeared on his skin. Talent, dragon body. He fell rapidly from the air with his whole body transformed into a dragon, and hit the Dark Beetle Knight's chest with a heavy kick, causing several cracks in its extremely hard armor. Buzz. A red light lit up from the Dark Beetle Knight's body. Frenzy. A terrifying force came and blew Wu Ping away. Bang. The Dark Beetle Knight's spear was wrapped in white air and suddenly inserted into the ground, ripples spread out, and then boom. The ground shook violently, and the terrifying shock wave continued to spread with the spear as the center, blowing away the ground and the surrounding trees. Wait until the dust cleared. A huge deep pit with a diameter of nearly 100 meters and a depth of 10 meters appeared on the spot. Hiss. Luo Shi, who was led by Zhang Yuan to dodge the attack, saw this scene and couldn't help but take a breath. This is the power of the skills of the third-level elite monster. It's really scary, looking at the Dark Beetle Knight with only half of his health left. Zhang Yuan stretched out his hand forward and clenched it, and a dark gold bone spear appeared in his hand, and his momentum changed. A silver-white long sword also appeared on his waist. Luo Shi was surprised and asked, "Are you trying to steal the monster?" Of course. Zhang Yuan showed a playful smile on his face. It's unreasonable to give a third-level elite to others. But he didn't rush to attack, and he could wait a little longer. Plop. Wu Ping, who used the dragon body, climbed up from a pile of rubble. His face was a little pale, and he was also injured. Wu Ping asked nervously in his mind, "Teacher, are you okay?" Wu Ping comforted, "I slept for too long, and I don't know how to fight." "Don't worry, it's just a third-level elite monster. I still have a lot of tricks to use." His eyes changed, and he dodged to the side in an instant. The huge body of the Dark Beetle Knight fell down, and a kick caused an area to collapse completely. Soul Chain. Wu Ping shouted, and thick gray chains appeared in the void, directly binding the Dark Beetle Knight tightly. Roar. The Dark Beetle Knight roared and struggled, his eyes emitting red light, and a large amount of dark aura spread from his body, turning into flying black beetles and rushing towards Wu Ping. Skill. Beetle Dance. Wu Ping blocked the attack with his soul barrier and used his skill again. Soul Black Wood. Several giant and sharp-pointed gray sticks stretched out from the void and pierced into the body of the Dark Beetle Knight, nailing it to the spot. -104,383. The health bar was reduced to a quarter in an instant. Zhang Yuan also chose to attack at this moment. In front of Luo Shi. He stepped on his feet, flashed, and appeared in front of the defenseless Wu Ping. Wu Ping was shocked. "It's you." Zhang Yuan's eyes flashed with gold. Mental pressure plus mental thorn. Whopping, suddenly felt a sharp pain in his soul, and his reaction was slow for a moment. And it was at this moment. Zhang Yuan's punch, which was wrapped with crimson flames and strands of black thunder, landed heavily on his abdomen. Bang! The air exploded. Swoosh! Boom! Whoppings! Body fell to the ground like a meteor, creating a huge pit. Super speed. Zhang Yuan flashed again, and came to the bound Dark Beetle Knight, holding the dark gold bone spear and striking. Sky-splitting strike. A dark golden light flashed, and a big hole was directly opened in the chest of the Dark Beetle Knight. -37,840. Zhang Yuan pulled out the silver-white fang from his waist again, and the crimson flames wrapped around the snow-white blade, and slashed it in the air. One sword style, armor split. Silver slash. In Luo's eyes shocked and dazed eyes. 100-meter-long crimson blade flashed by, slashing across the body of the Dark Beetle Knight, splitting it straight in half. The battle was won, and the battle was won. Ding! You killed the Dark Beetle Knight LV25, experience plus 1938. Ding! Your level is increased, current level 55-9. A reminder sounded in Luo's eyes' ears. It brought her back to her senses from the shock, and a hint of surprise appeared on her face. Then he looked at Zhang Yuan. He was bending over to touch the corpse and put a lot of materials into the system backpack. Ding! You get the leg bone of the Dark Beetle Knight material. Ding! You get Mithril Metal 10. Ding! You get rare high-level equipment, Mithril boots. Ding! You get the Heart of Darkness fragment. Ding! You get... Bang! A loud noise. The wounded, whooping, shot out from the rubble. He stared at Zhang Yuan angrily. "Despicable boy. How dare you steal monsters? I won't forgive you." Luo Shi was surprised. Zhang Yuan stood up and used his newly acquired telekinetic skills to control the dark gold bone spear in the distance back to his hand. He looked at Wu Ping and smiled coldly. "There's something wrong with you." Luo Shi walked to his side and said alertly, "Is it the abyss monster that has taken over his body?" "Bullshit. What abyss monster? My name is Feng Guanyu, and I was a famous 8th level hunter back then. When I was famous, you were still in your mother's womb and hadn't been born yet." Wu Ping cursed. "I lost my body in the turmoil of the abyss 50 years ago. My soul has been sleeping in the accessories I carry with me for many years. It was awakened by this kid and temporarily resided in his body." Wu Ping shouted in the spiritual realm, "Teacher, calm down." Zhang Yuan was a little surprised when he heard it. It turned out that it was the old man's possession. This kid has a lot of luck. Then he must be eliminated. Zhang Yuan stared at Wu Ping with a smile on his face. "Do you think I will believe it?" Fast, he came to Wu Ping in an instant and stabbed him with a gun. Wu Ping barely dodged it, and a cut was made on his cheek, and he was extremely angry. "Kid, even if you have mastered the will of martial arts, don't think I'm afraid of you. Even if my strength is only 1/10 of what it used to be, I still have all my martial arts skills, and you can't defeat me." He confidently picked up the sword, his blood vibrating and boiling, emitting thick white smoke. He took a heavy step forward. Wu Ping shot out instantly, swinging his sword at Zhang Yuan. Zhuiying Sanmi. The distance between the two flashed by. Shuila. 3 dark sword lights flashed in the air, cutting through Zhang Yuan's body like thunder, and a deep crack was torn in the ground. Zhang Yuan's body shattered like foam. Then he appeared behind Wu Ping again. He swung a round gun and smashed it down heavily. Wu Ping blocked it with a sword in his hand. Dang. Accompanied by a dull sound, the air waves swept around, and Wu Ping's dragon-like legs suddenly sank into the ground. And as Zhang Yuan's arms exerted force, the ground under his feet continued to break and sag, and his body dropped lower and lower. Hiss. How can this kid be so powerful? Wu Ping looked horrified. Swish, 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 swish. The dark gold bone spear in Zhang Yuan's hand flew up and down, slashing vertically, thrusting, cutting horizontally, and slashing upwards. Countless gun shadows. Wu Ping kept resisting with a big sword, but he was still beaten back again and again, and his blood and physical strength were constantly consumed. Puff. Another thrust. Wu Ping was knocked back nearly 100 meters. His gray eyes stared at Zhang Yuan. This can't go on, the body won't be able to hold on now. He raised his hand and shook Zhang Yuan. Soul Claw. A dozen gray hands grabbed Zhang Yuan. It seemed as if they were going to drag him into the world of the dead. Buzz. Spirit thorns. Zhang Yuan whispered, and the burning mental power turned into a dozen spikes and collided with those gray hands. The invisible mental shock spread with the collision. Wu Ping used his skills again. Soul Fire. Boom. Several balls of gray flames rushed towards Zhang Yuan. Although he used mental power to resist in time, a part of his mental power was still burned. Feeling the long-lost pain, Zhang Yuan showed an increasingly cold smile on his face. Oh, a black light flashed in his golden eyes. Infernal prison. Wu Ping's eyes went dark immediately. But he also reacted quickly, condensing the power of his soul to forcefully break through. He broke the illusion, but he also lost some soul power and became more and more tired. Zhang Yuan did not miss this opportunity and used the dark gold bone spear to perform a sky-breaking attack again. Shua. As a straight dotted line swept across, a deep gully was cut into the ground. Wu Ping half entered the ground with his feet and slid back dozens of meters. He gasped and stared at the black-haired and golden-eyed boy in the distance. The pale soul aura emanating from his body became weaker and weaker. Who, I didn't expect the consumption to be so great this time. This kid is really a monster. Whether it is physical strength, spirit, martial arts, or even combat experience, he is the best among his peers. He is perfect and there is no flaw. The most important thing is that he has never used his talent until now. Thinking of this, Wu Ping couldn't help but feel depressed, and cursed in a low voice, "What do children nowadays eat to grow up?" Wu Ping said anxiously in the spiritual realm, "Teacher, do you still want to fight? You won't be able to hold on. There is one last trick." If it doesn't work, we can only give up the ruins and go home. Wu Ping said, took a deep breath, put away the big sword, took out a bow without strings, pulled the invisible bowstring, burst out all the soul power that can be used, condensed into a gray arrow formed by soul fire, and aimed at Zhang Yuan. Boy, the power of this arrow can't be blocked even by a 4th level transfer warrior, and you have been locked by my spirit and can't dodge. If you are willing to leave now, we can leave each other alone. Wu Ping stared at Zhang Yuan and said, pointed at by the arrow formed by the soul fire. Feeling a sense of danger in his heart, Zhang Yuan didn't say anything but stepped forward. Luo Shi looked at his figure with a trace of worry in her eyes. Do you really have to take it head on? Even she could feel the horror of the gray arrow, as if it could destroy everything. He said he was once an 8th level transfer warrior, and I'm afraid he wasn't kidding. Come on. Zhang Yuan laughed loudly, holding the dark gold spear and began to run forward, his speed getting faster and faster. Wu Ping looked at Zhang Yuan running towards him, and loosened his fingers expressionlessly. Whoosh! A sound of breaking through the air sounded. A gray light flashed from the ground. Instantly appeared in front of Zhang Yuan. In Zhang Yuan's golden eyes, which were like mirrors reflecting the fire, the gray arrows kept getting bigger. However, a hint of happiness gradually appeared in his eyes. Along with the sense of danger, there was also a hint of long-lost excitement. Boom! Accompanied by a loud noise. The earth trembled and roared, collapsed and shattered, the airwaves rushed to the sky, and the smoke and dust scattered. A small mushroom cloud slowly rose on the ground. Luo Shi relied on a rare defensive equipment to barely stabilize his body in the shock wave and was not blown away. You can imagine how powerful this move is. It is comparable to the forbidden spell that a 3rd level forbidden spell master spends half of his life and chance for several minutes to release. Wait for the smoke and dust to dissipate. A huge pit with a diameter of 100 meters appeared on the spot, charred black, and electric arcs flickered. Wu Ping was surprised in the spiritual realm. Is he dead? I can't feel the breath of death. Wu Ping knelt on one knee, forcing a smile. Even if it's a 4th level big shield, it will be seriously injured if it takes this move. That kid must have used the teleportation stone to escape at the critical moment. Who did you say escaped? Quote exclamation mark. Quote. In the eyes of Wu Ping, who couldn't believe it. A hand stretched out from the bottom of the huge pit. Bang! The ground exploded. A charred figure appeared in front of several people. Buzz! The blood was shocked. The charred outer layer was shattered into slag. Black hair fluttered. Golden eyes were bright. A human boy with a straight figure, well-proportioned muscles, obvious abdominal muscles and no clothes appeared in the eyes of several people. He was covered in wounds, his skin and flesh were exposed, and in some places the bones were visible, but black and red flames appeared on the wounds, rising with wisps of chard, which made his injuries recover quickly, and at the same time, the temperature around him rose rapidly and the stones at his feet were also melting quickly. Ah! Luo Shi opened her mouth and eyes wide, and her pure face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. She quickly covered her eyes with her hands after reacting, but she couldn't help but peek through the gaps with her fingers. It's the first time I've been injured so badly. Zhang Yuan looked at his charred right hand, clenched his fist lightly, and the charred skin fell off, revealing his fair and smooth palm. It hurts a little, but it feels good. This time, he also realized what level his ultimate defense had reached. Ping. Above level 4, below level 5. If the attack just now was several times stronger, he would not just be injured, but would be in real danger of life. Zhang Yuan looked at the stunned Wu Ping in the distance. You damaged my equipment and clothes, how are you going to compensate me for this? Seeing his injuries heal at a speed visible to the naked eye, Wu Ping took out the white teleportation stone without hesitation and crushed it. Fight your ass. To be an enemy of such a monster, you are almost crazy. Forget the ruins. What do you want it for? Seeing Wu Ping disappear in the white light at the speed of light, Zhang Yuan was also stunned and scratched his head. You run really fast. After recovering from all his injuries, he put away the immortal phoenix flame, looked at himself, and then looked at Luo Shi in the distance. Luo Shi, who blocked his eyes with both hands, turned around like a frightened little beast. Taking out the clothes prepared by Ji Feiyue from the system backpack, Zhang Yuan sighed in his heart for her wisdom. After changing, he walked past Luo Shi and said, "You have also seen mine, now we're even." Luo's face instantly turned red, even the roots of his ears were red, and he muttered, I didn't see it." The two came to the entrance of the ruins. Zhang Yuan took out the heart of the flower ruins prop, opened the entrance, and entered. What came into view was a sea of lavender flowers. Ding! The team entered the ruins' flower ruins. As soon as he stepped into this area, Zhang Yuan smelled a very pleasant floral fragrance, which was fascinating and intoxicating, and even calmed his mind. Zhang Yuan immediately realized that something was wrong. He closed his eyes and carefully operated the Great Sun Starry Sky visualization method. He saw countless spore-like things appearing around his spiritual realm, trying to break through the barrier and enter his spiritual realm silently. He sneered. As soon as Zhang Yuan's spiritual world released its power, the spiritual power containing terrible burning flames turned into ripples, burning all the spore spirit bodies into ashes. Then he looked at Luo Shi beside him. She had fallen into a state of unconsciousness, with her eyes closed, her expression full of struggle. "Hey!" Zhang Yuan shouted with a mental shock. "Let Luo Shi come back to her senses from the illusion." "What is that?" She was still a little frightened and carefully checked her spiritual sea. "Be careful," Zhang Yuan said, dragging out the system panel, adding some upgraded free attributes, and then wearing the equipment one by one. After taking the blow from Whopping head on, his dark gold bone gun and some ordinary level equipment were completely shattered, leaving only the equipment with rare attributes. Crimson wristband, equipment. Silver white fangs, equipment. Mithril boots, equipment. Scarlet ring, equipment. Scarlet necklace, equipment. After all the equipment was ready, Zhang Yuan looked completely different from when he came in. The boy had black hair and golden eyes, handsome appearance, black pants and long boots, and a high-end custom-made white shirt with a black windbreaker printed with the Bloody Rose logo on the outside, which made him look even taller and taller. With the silver-white narrow knife hanging on Zhang Yuan's waist, he looked noble and mysterious, and looked quite pleasing to the eye. Even Luo Shi couldn't help but take a few more glances. "Let's go," Zhang Yuan said. The two walked one after the other. It was surprisingly peaceful here. In addition to being careful of some unpredictable spiritual experiences that invaded the spiritual realm from time to time, there were very few ferocious beasts. "It's so strange here," Luo Shi stopped and said. "It's too peaceful. Time doesn't seem to flow. It's all flowers and plants, but there's not even a withered flower." Zhang Yuan also noticed something unusual. The breath of life here is dozens of times richer than outside. It's like the cradle of life. But there was a dead silence. "Abnormal, too abnormal. Keep going." Zhang Yuan heard a song. "Did you hear it?" Zhang Yuan asked. Luo Shi was stunned. "What? A very sad song." "I didn't hear anything. Don't scare me." Her face turned pale, and she couldn't help but hold the corner of Zhang Yuan's clothes. "The song carries a weak spiritual fluctuation. Maybe my spiritual power is strong enough to hear it," Zhang Yuan said, looking in a direction, which was the direction where the song came from. Walked a distance to that side. The two saw a flower hill. In front of the flower hill, there was a vague figure. It looked like a young girl, sitting on a swing, humming softly. Zhang Yuan and the others approached, but it didn't react. "What is this? A ghost?" Luo Shi huddled behind Zhang Yuan and curiously poked her head out. "Don't be silly, it's written in the textbooks that so-called ghosts are just a kind of spiritual body." "Of course I know this. But it doesn't look like a spiritual body at all. There is no spiritual fluctuation at all, just like inorganic matter." Zhang Yuan reached out and touched it, penetrating its body, but there was still no reaction. "It's just like a phantom of history." Luo Shi sighed. "Still nothing unusual." Luo Shi looked around, put his hands on his waist and said, "This seems to be the deepest part of the ruins. There is nothing except this phantom. Is there no secret here at all?" Zhang Yuan seemed to think of something and took out the heart of flower ruins. In an instant, the heart of flower ruins shone brightly, flew towards the phantom, and merged into its body. The girl's phantom gradually solidified, her eyes glowed with color, and the wind began to blow around, the flowers and plants fluttered, the petals fluttered, and the time of the entire secret realm began to flow. My name is Xuanvi, big brother, did you wake me up? The girl spoke. Zhang Yuan nodded. The girl stared at him for 2 seconds, with a gentle smile on her face. Thank you. Before Zhang Yuan and the others could react, the mental power around them was in disorder, and countless spore-like spiritual bodies like turbulent flow also quickly gathered towards her. In a moment, on the empty lavender sea, the pure girl disappeared, replaced by a 2-meter-tall woman in a black dress, wearing a bright wreath on her head, surrounded by all kinds of bright flowers. Her face kept changing, indescribably weird. He he he. It let out a piercing and sharp laugh, and the condensed mental shock spread like a purple wave for hundreds of meters. Looking at the long blood bar that appeared above its head, and the name of Fallen Bona marked in bright red, Zhang Yuan and Luo Shi were dumbfounded. Oh my god, it's a trick. The headquarters of the Education Bureau of Jiangxi Province. A boy with white hair and frizzy hair came to the underground base, and people passing by looked at him with great respect. Hello, Director. Hello, Director Bai. Director Bai is also very majestic today. Yeah, the white-haired boy nodded one by one, showing an approving smile to the girls who praised him. Yun Ziyi saw him. Director, are you awake? Yeah, Xiao Yun, how is the situation now? The white-haired boy asked in a childish voice, but his tone was old-fashioned. Yun Ziyi looked at the huge ball of light. There are only 5,000 people left, and there are still 6 people in the hidden map. It is expected that 1 or 2 people may break into the final trial site. The white-haired boy put his hands behind his back and nodded. Not bad, the quality of candidates this year is good. What's wrong, Bureau Bai? Yun Ziyi asked, seeing the white-haired boy looking at the 2 light spots somewhere in the white ball of light with some surprise. Is there any problem? The white-haired boy scratched his head. It seems to be Washu there. I don't remember it clearly. Washu. Yun Ziyi was stunned. It was the first time he heard of this name. The white-haired boy smiled and said, that is a relic fragment I broke before. It is a little dangerous. If a candidate accidentally breaks in, what will happen? Yun Ziyi felt a little uneasy. The white-haired boy spread his hands and said, that's terrible. There is a remnant of a level 9 beast left inside, which is probably equivalent to a level 4 or 5 boss monster. What did you say? Yun Ziyi's forehead veins throbbed, and he felt a bursting sensation in his temples. The remnant of a 9th order beast. A 4th or 5th order boss monster. Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? The white-haired boy held the back of his head and said with a smile, it can be said to be a death trap. How about it? I've considered it very carefully, right? Yun Ziyi took a deep breath and told himself to calm down, but he still couldn't calm down, and roared at him. What kind of college entrance examination copy would have the remnant of a 9th order beast? What on earth are you thinking? The white-haired boy wiped the saliva on his face and said a little aggrieved. Why are you so angry? I did this to make the candidates realize the danger of the abyss and not to break into the ruins without sufficient information. But do you know that the top candidate who is now ranked first in points and is expected to pass the copy has fallen into the death trap you set? Yun Ziyi was furious. The white-haired boy was stunned for 2 seconds and blinked. Ah. Then he waved his hand and smiled. Impossible, absolutely impossible. To enter the flower ruins, you need to obtain a hidden item, and that hidden item can only be obtained by killing a 3rd-level elite monster. How can the examinee get it? Don't joke with me. Who is kidding you? Although I don't know how he did it, he does have the ability to kill 3rd-level monsters. Yun Ziyi sighed. If what you said is right, I can guarantee that he and the other student has really entered the remains you said now. The death trap has a disability of a 9-order murderer, pretending to be calm, also, not yet in the end. Maybe he will not be eliminated. Do you think it is possible? In the flower market, boom, bang, nothing. Destruction and death fell from the sky. Zhang Yuan carried Luo Shi, who was shrouded in a purple barrier and desperately resisted the spiritual erosion, and ran at full speed. Chuckles, chuckles. The woman in a black dress on the flower hill in the distance laughed scornfully and teasingly. She raised her hand lightly. An invisible telekinesis instantly imprisoned the two. Then, swish, a destruction. Death ray is coming. Zhang Yuan raised his head suddenly, his golden eyes shone with light, and his blood and chi burst out like molten lava, rippling, and several circles of crimson blood and chi halos appeared above his head, forming a blood and chi barrier to block the destructive death ray. Boom! Accompanied by a huge explosion. Zhang Yuan was directly blown away by the shock wave while carrying Luo Shi. It really can't be stopped. Isn't this a dungeon trial for candidates? How could there be such a monster? It's a bit too strong, isn't it? Zhang Yuan said angrily, looking at the woman in the black skirt on the flower hill, cold sweat oozing from his forehead. Don't blame him for swearing, it's really that the attributes of this monster are too abnormal. Abyss monster, Fallen Bona. Grade, mutated boss. Level, LV37. Skills, magic sound, deterrence, control, telekinetic storm, wind of fear, destructive death light, nightmare dream, evil aura. Evaluation, the source of corruption, the regret of the 9th level beast, the incarnation of nightmare, the ultimate danger in the field, run away quickly if you encounter it. HP exceeds 500,000. Strength exceeds 10,000. Spirit exceeds 10,000. Skill damage is terrible, and the range is also extremely large. It is almost impossible to find a flaw. If it were an ordinary person, he would have died long ago. Watching the woman in the black dress raise her hand, Zhang Yuan instantly felt the danger and carried Luo Shi to use the speed to leave the original place. Boom! Another telekinetic storm came, instantly pressing the ground within a radius of 10 meters to several meters, forming a black hole. Zhang Yuan, who appeared in another place, felt for the first time that the 2.5-second cooldown time of speed was so long. You, please put me down. Luo Shi opened her eyes with difficulty. Teleport away by yourself. No, don't let both of us die here. Listening to her words, Zhang Yuan, who was already burning with anger, became even more annoyed and angry. Okay, if you want to die, I'll help you. Zhang Yuan stopped running and put her on the ground. Luo's eyes pale face showed a touching smile. That's good. Please go back and tell my mom. Remember to settle accounts with the Education Bureau. Avenge me. You're still thinking about revenge at this time, you really hold a grudge. Hee hee, this is my nature. Didn't you see it all? Luo Shi, who looked weak, smiled with difficulty. Indeed, people who started taking notes in elementary school and wrote down the names of people who said bad things about them and took revenge on them one by one are really vindictive. Now your notebook should be as thick as a dictionary, right? Zhang Yuan said, while hanging the scarlet necklace around her neck in her surprised and puzzled eyes. You, what are you doing? I'm not used to abandoning my teammates. Zhang Yuan turned around, pulled out his silver-white longsword, and looked at the woman in the black dress in the distance, with a grim smile on his handsome face. Isn't it just a 4th-level boss? I'll kill you today. The old man was in a bad state, but he was still alive. Luo Shi was in a very bad state now. Her spiritual realm, which had collapsed once, was torn into countless cracks by the devilish sound of the woman in black skirt. Grains of firefly light were floating on the spiritual sea like fireflies. They were the little spiritual residues left by Zhang Yuan after his accidental invasion. Before she fainted, she vaguely heard the boy's decisive words. Isn't it just a 4th-tier boss? I'll kill you today. Luo's purple eyes dimmed, and in the hazy vision, there was only a tall and straight figure of a young man blocking her way. Luo's mind suddenly recalled the ancient Great Wall of Da Sha that her mother Luo Ningyan had told her about for thousands of years. It resisted alien races thousands of years ago and resisted the abyss in the era of God's abandonment. It melted the blood of millions of compatriots, cast immortal iron, engraved the seal of martial arts, guarded the land by the abyss, protected the country and the border, and was named as a guardian. The boy's back at this moment overlapped with the Great Wall imagined by the girl. Boom. Quote, a circle of black and red flames rose from Zhang Yuan's feet, turning into a slender pillar of fire that soared into the sky. The temperature around soared, and the grass and trees burned yellow at a speed visible to the naked eye. The woman in the black dress let out a cry that was not sure whether it was surprise or fear. Zizi, a destructive death light shot directly at the boy in the fire. The boy raised his eyes, his golden eyes were cold. Shuila, a knife light with black and red flames slashed out. The two sides collided in the air. Bang, quote, accompanied by the explosion, the flames exploded like fireworks. The sky was full of flames that illuminated the entire flower ruins. The brilliant flames full of destruction and vitality reflected in Luo's beautiful eyes, illuminating the purple. So beautiful. The thin lips moved slightly, and the sound was as small as a mosquito. After Luo Shi said this, his mind could no longer hold on and he fainted and fell to the ground. Step. A black boot wrapped with wisps of flames stepped out of the flame range. The black and red flames dispersed. A handsome young man in a black robe, black hair fluttering, golden eyes sparkling, and black and red flames wrapped around his body appeared. Come, quote, a rebuke. The terrifying black flames that were floating around him gathered towards him instantly, spiraling around the silver-white longsword in his hand like a black flame cloud. The long sword instantly emitted endless high temperature, scorching the surrounding air. Chi. Zhang Yuan held the silver-white long sword like a branding iron, and with a light stroke, he left a long-lasting black mark in the air, emitting wisps of burnt smoke. The moisture in the entire relic space evaporated at a speed visible to the naked eye. Zhang Yuan took another step forward, and the ground burned into scorched earth. The woman in the black skirt looked at the blade wrapped in black and red flames in Zhang Yuan's hand, took a half step back, and looked extremely fearful. Are you scared? Zhang Yuan laughed coldly. You forced me to use my trump card, and now I'm scared. It's too late. It seemed that she felt the danger. The woman in the black skirt opened her mouth directly and let out a sharp scream. Cry, quote. The sound waves full of spiritual pollution crushed the ground and rushed towards Zhang Yuan. Zhang Yuan's eyes flashed with rainbow light, and he entered the state instantly. The Great Sun Extreme Visualization Method. The spiritual realm turned into a majestic sun, like a solid reef on the seashore, blocking the attack. Although the spiritual sea was turbulent, it recovered very quickly. Super speed. One step flashed in front of the woman in the black skirt. Twist the waist, swing the arm, and slash. One sword-style armor split. Silver slash. A flash of black and red knife light flashed in the air. The woman in the black skirt raised her hand, and a purple spiritual barrier engraved with complicated patterns instantly emerged, blocking the knife. Boom, quote. The terrifying force exploded. With the two people as the center, the air waves surged, and the entire flower hill collapsed outward layer by layer. Under the astonished gaze of the woman in the black skirt. Sizzle. The black and red flames burned holes in the indestructible mental barrier like corrosive poison. Swish. The long sword wrapped in the immortal phoenix flame cut through the mental barrier, swept across the body of the woman in the black skirt like cutting tofu, split it in two, and burned it to ashes. Burn everything, even the empty mental power. This is the gold content of SSS level talent. Ha! The danger in Zhang Yuan's heart increased instead of decreasing, and his legs instinctively bent and kicked hard. The next second, several destructive death lights attacked from all directions. Boom, quote. The flower hill was completely shattered. Hee. The woman in a black dress who appeared in another place laughed strangely and scornfully, and floating boulders appeared around her body and smashed towards Zhang Yuan in the air at a high speed. Swish, 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 swish. Zhang Yuan swung his sword and chopped it all into pieces. He then stepped on the broken boulders in the air with his legs and pushed hard. Whoosh! His figure shot towards the woman in the black dress like an arrow from a bow, streaking a straight black-red light in the air. Bang! An evil halo emitting black light appeared above the head of the woman in the black dress. And she raised her hand. Swoosh! A purple destructive death light with a power 10 times that of the previous one streaked through the air. The black, red and purple lights collided with each other. Boom! Bang! The woman in the black dress looked at the huge explosion in the air and let out a triumphant and piercing strange laugh. But then, a long sword flew out of the explosion. His laughter stopped abruptly. Swoosh! Zhang Yuan appeared behind her intact, his golden eyes emitting cold light, his right hand clenched into a fist to accumulate power. Crimson ripples constantly gathered towards the center of his fist, and the immortal phoenix flame gathered at one point. At the moment when the woman in the black dress turned her head to look at him, Zhang Yuan threw this punch. Crimson spiral shock plus black lightning plus immortal phoenix flame plus fire power. Coupled with the blessing of equipment. This made his punch reach an astonishing power. The moment it was thrown, the air was twisted and deformed. Boom! With a huge explosion, the spiritual barrier summoned by the woman in the black dress at the critical moment was shattered by a punch. The extremely condensed fist force pierced the woman in the black dress's shoulder, causing half of her body to explode, and dots of black and red flames attached to the wound like maggots on the tarsal bone. Minus 50,694. Accompanied by a shrill and painful scream, a line of damage floated above the woman in the black dress's head. As the undead phoenix flame burned on him, damage continued to float out. Minus 8,930. Minus 8,373. Minus 9,028. Just as Zhang Yuan was about to throw a second punch, the evil halo above the black-dressed woman's head emitted a strange black light, and his broken body instantly disintegrated and shattered. In order to dispel the undead phoenix flame, she would rather give up her body. Zhang Yuan was stunned. The next second, the black-dressed woman, whose breath had weakened a little, gathered in another place, and a large amount of green life breath poured into her body from all directions. The blood bar on her head quickly recovered and soon returned to full blood. The ground around him rolled, and more than a dozen man-eating vines as big as buildings emerged from the ground, biting at Zhang Yuan with their bloody teeth. But before they got close, a flash of black and red flames appeared on Zhang Yuan's body, and all the man-eating vines burned on their own, twisting painfully in the flames and turning into ashes. Bang! Zhang Yuan kicked his feet and disappeared on the spot. If you look down from a very high place, you can see a black shadow moving at a very fast speed on the ground. Destructive death rays continued to fall from all directions, smashing huge pits on the ground. Because you are afraid of the flames on my body, you keep a distance from me. Are you trying to kill me? Zhang Yuan thought to himself as he looked at the woman in black skirt who always kept a distance of 1,000 meters from him. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Dozens of huge wooden thorns fell from the sky again. Zhang Yuan ran to the fallen silver white fang, pulled it out, and slashed the sky with the undead phoenix flame into the sky, chopping and burning all the wooden thorns. As he ran, he analyzed the situation, with rainbow light flashing in his eyes. Choosing to keep a distance from me means that he is afraid of his undead phoenix flame. His regeneration must not be infinite, and it is very likely that it can only be used once. In this case, Zhang Yuan's eyes flickered slightly, and with a squeak, his body stopped abruptly. Throw the silver white fang into the air. He gathered power with his fists, wrapped them with the undead phoenix flame, and slammed them into the ground. Bang! With a loud bang, the ground sank and shattered, and countless cracks spread in all directions. Boom boom boom. Like the eruption of underground fire, the black and red flames spread in all directions along the cracks like magma. Zhang Yuan, who looked a little pale, stood up, stretched out his hand to catch the silver white fang falling from the air, and sneered at the woman in the black dress in the distance. Don't you want to hide? I'll burn the entire ruins, and see how you can hide. The woman in the black dress looked at the black fire spreading in all directions in horror, feeling the rapidly rising temperature in the ruins, and then looked at Zhang Yuan with a sneer on her face. As if she had sensed Zhang Yuan's intention. He was completely angry. Ah! One raised his hand. The destructive death rays rained down on Zhang Yuan, and the power of each one was comparable to that of Wu Ping's arrow. The only drawback was that it could be dodged. Zhang Yuan moved across the land at lightning speed, avoiding one destructive death ray after another. Seizing the opportunity when the woman in black was furious. Use super speed again. Swish. Zhang Yuan appeared in front of the woman in black and slashed with his sword. One sword flow, armor cracks. This sword contained his spirit, talent, martial arts and skills. The power would only be stronger than the punch just now. But at this time, the woman in black was unusually calm, and a triumphant expression appeared on her constantly changing face. Buzz. A flower bud growing on her chest blossomed, revealing a black eye. The moment Zhang Yuan saw that eye, he realized that he was careless. Deterrence. Zhang Yuan, who rushed to her, froze for a moment, his fighting spirit completely suppressed by a great spirit. The woman in black dress raised her hand, and a bright and huge purple flower bloomed in her palm again. In the center of the flower, dense human eyeballs grew, staring at Zhang Yuan. For a moment, Zhang Yuan's heart seemed to be grabbed by an invisible hand. Skill, wind of fear. A touch of darkness instantly enveloped Zhang Yuan, interrupting his skills, and endless fear surged in his heart. Giggle, giggle. The black dress woman's face kept changing, and the appearance of her mother and aunt appeared. Her figure kept enlarging in front of Zhang Yuan, and her contemptuous and mocking laughter kept echoing in his ears, trying to drag Zhang Yuan's mind into the quagmire of fear from which there was no return. -832. -790. -789. One after another, damage appeared on his head. Although the undead phoenix flame and the fire-breathing technique were constantly restoring his health was still decreasing. Puff! A sharp vine pierced Zhang Yuan's body, which was harder than D-grade alloy, like a sharp knife, bringing up a trace of light golden blood and lifting him up. Looking at Zhang Yuan, whose golden eyes had lost their color and blood was flowing from the corners of his mouth, the woman in the black dress laughed a sharp and strange laugh, full of ridicule and pride. Giggle, giggle, giggle. Fall into the abyss of nightmare. Swish. A sharp knife light with black and red flames passed by, sweeping across the neck of the woman in black dress. The head of the woman in black dress flew backwards. -19,034. Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. In his unbelievable eyes, Zhang Yuan, who should have fallen into the abyss of nightmares, reached out and grasped the vine that pierced his chest, and burned it with a flick of the flame. Falling from midair to the ground, the blood hole in Zhang Yuan's chest ignited black and red flames. At the same time, the head of the woman in black dress fell to the ground and was quickly burned to ashes by the undead phoenix flame. The part of the body stained with black and red flames was abandoned, and the headless body began to grow, twist, and swell. Countless strange plants and flowers grew out of his black skirt, multiplied, and inserted into the ground. In less than a moment, in front of Zhang Yuan, a blood-red giant flower shaped like a meat mountain appeared, covered with strange plants, flowers with human faces, vines with teeth, and countless trees with tentacles. They roared, screamed, and roared with endless malice and anger, wanting to destroy everything around them. Bang 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 bang. Quote, in a frenzied state, he began to destroy everything around him irrationally, and beams of destructive death light shot out, with a power more than 10 times that of the previous one. Ha! Zhang Yuan, who had retreated to a distance, took a deep breath, as if to drain all the air in this area. The fire-breathing method was fully operational, absorbing and devouring the breath of life from all directions, nourishing billions of cells. The fire in the mysterious realm in the body was burning fiercely, dispelling nightmares while protecting Zhang Yuan's will to remain pure and clear forever, free from any evil erosion and pollution. Bang bang bang. The immortal body forging method was fully operational, and the heartbeat made a huge sound, like a god beating a drum, and the majestic blood and chi surged and boiled in the body like molten lava, releasing a violent force that swept everything. At this moment, Zhang Yuan could feel that his spirit had reached its peak. He had been tempered to the extreme. The potential of the ultimate began to bloom in the body, and the power was sublimated. Ding! Your talent, Supreme Analysis, analyzed the true meaning of body forging in battle. Your immortal body forging method reached the 12th style, activated an immortal cell, strength +50, speed +50. Ding! Your talent, Supreme Analysis, comprehended the mystery of breathing in battle. Your Shinwo breathing method reached the state of full concentration, physical recovery +200%. Ding! Your talent, Supreme Analysis, comprehended the essence of spirit in battle. Your understanding of the Great Sun Extreme Visualization method deepened, spiritual attribute +100. Ding! Your talent, Supreme Analysis, analyzed the source of momentum. You mastered the pressure of martial arts. The boy raised his head with a full-scale increase in momentum. His golden eyes radiated lightning, reflecting the terrifying giant flower evil creature in the distance, and his young and handsome face was filled with a bloodthirsty grin like a beast. Exploding star. The big gun was killed, and the big gun was killed. Boom! Red flames soared into the sky. All attributes tripled. Ignore control. Defense multiplied by 10. Combat power reached its peak. Fast. Zhang Yuan arrived in front of the giant flower evil creature in an instant. The giant flower evil creature stretched out countless tentacles and vines to grab him. One knife flow, armor cracking, silver slash. One knife cut out. After the threefold increase, the basic attributes of tens of thousands plus the immortal phoenix flame plus the ripple force plus the firepower increase by 100% plus the equipment increase. Swish. Countless tentacles were split in two, and the black and red blade light of 100 meters long cut through the mental barrier and landed heavily on the huge body of the giant flower evil creature, just like a hot knife cutting through solidified butter, sweeping past in an instant, leaving a huge crack. A white number flashed above his head, which represented the true damage of a critical hit. -188,402. This attack caused a critical hit true damage, plus the critical hit damage increase of equipment and skills. Even if some damage was blocked, it still directly killed 1/3 of the health bar of the giant flower evil creature. Ah! The giant flower evil creature screamed in pain, and the mental shock condensed into substance attacked Zhang Yuan frantically. But for Zhang Yuan, who was blessed with 10 times the defense, there was no need to dodge at all. Swing the knife again. The 500% attack speed blessing made his attack speed directly max out. Swish, 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 swish. Hundreds of knives in 1 second. The knife light with black and red flames kept falling on the giant flower evil creature, reducing its health. The super fast movement and the speed made it difficult for the giant flower evil creature's attack to touch him. Coupled with the power of the fire and the burning of the immortal phoenix flame, it was impossible for it to recover blood. The blood bar of the giant flower evil creature was constantly reduced at a speed visible to the naked eye. And soon it was less than half. The ruins burned in the sea of fire. The sky was dyed black and red. The black and red flames on the mutated body of the giant flower evil creature burned wantonly, burning its body and spiritual remnants to ashes with terrifying high temperatures. No matter how it struggled and wailed, it was useless. This is the horror of SSS level talent. Zhang Yuan is still at the 2nd level now and cannot fully exert his power. If it is an abyss beast of the same life level, even if it is a boss level, he can burn it to ashes with a thought. When he reaches the king realm, it may not be a problem for a flame to burn a city. Bang! The broken burning body of the giant flower evil creature fell to the ground. A bright red flower of the other shore grew out of the cracks in the charred flesh. The flower of the other shore bloomed, and the figure of the woman in black skirt appeared again, but at this moment, she looked extremely weak. The shadow of the pure girl before appeared, and the two overlapped continuously. No, don't kill me. The woman in black skirt spoke in human language, full of prayers. I used to be a human, but I was bewitched by the abyss. Please kill me. The pure girl said, I am a polluted undead, and I can't turn back. The woman in black skirt cried sadly, I can give you eternal life. The pure girl smiled. Immortality is a curse. Come later, please fight against the abyss on my behalf and protect mankind. My name is Lilith. It seemed that a blood-red sun appeared above the ruins. In the endless light and heat, Zhang Yuan solemnly swung the last knife. God avoid. In an instant, the entire ruins lost its color, and only a ray of red light fell to the ground. Ah! Amid the angry, unwilling, wailing, and painful screams of the woman in the black dress, he and the flesh and blood of the giant flower evil creature disappeared in the blazing light. The blood bar was cleared. The smoke dissipated. A huge black pit appeared in the original place. Ha! Zhang Yuan let out a long breath and looked down at the silver-white longsword in his hand. Fortunately, the durability is still 30%, and it can be used for a while. Just when he was wondering why he didn't hear the system prompt sound, the continuous system prompt sound rang in his mind. Ding! You killed the Fallen Bona LV37, experience plus 17,393. Ding! Your points plus 50, current points 1215. Ding! Your level is increased, current level LV17. Ding! Your level has been upgraded, and the current level is LV18. 2 white lights flashed across Zhang Yuan's body, and Luo Shi, who fainted in the distance, flashed white lights 7 or 8 times, and her injuries were healed due to the upgrade. Oh my god, I forgot that I was still in a team with her. Zhang Yuan hugged his head, regretting that his experience was divided in half. He looked at the purple-haired girl in the distance with hatred. Now you owe me not only a life, but also experience points. Don't give me 100 million, no, 500 million, this matter is not over. The system prompts are still continuing. Ding! You killed the Fallen Bona LV37 and obtained the epic accessory Lilith's badge. Closing square bracket. Ding! You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained the Wonkwon set gold level equipment level, common, rare, gold, dark gold, epic, legend, myth. Ding. You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained the equipment destruction wrath gold level. Ding. You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained life crystal high level *3. Ding. You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained unknown fragment 1. Ding. You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained the rare skill book, Eye of Fear. Ding. You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained the rare skill book, Evil Aura. Ding. You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained the gold material, Fallen Flower. Ding. You killed the Fallen Bona LV-37 and obtained the gold material, Twisted Wreath. Looking at the badge marked as epic in the warehouse, Zhang Yuan rubbed his eyes and was a little unbelievable. Epic? Really? Check it out immediately. Lilith's badge epic. 150 years ago, the personal badge of Flower King Lilith was contaminated by the abyss and lost in the depths of darkness. Effect: Charm +10, permanent +1 health point per hour, health recovery +100%, all element resistance +20%. Additional skill 1. Plant control, can freely control plants within 100 meters for your own use, cooling time, 5 minutes. Additional skill 2. Last stand, when your HP drops to 1, for the next 10 seconds, any attack below the god level will not cause any damage to you. Cooldown time, 10 days. Wearing conditions. Exclusively for the person who purifies Lilith's fallen regrets. Zhang Yuan cannot be dropped, cannot be abandoned. The old man was beaten. Hiss. Permanently increase 1 health point every hour, can't be traded, can't be dropped. The attached skill can also make you invincible for 10 seconds before you die. Zhang Yuan's eyes widened. Is this the epic jewelry effect? It's a bit too fierce. Especially the permanent increase in health. Health +24 a day. For him, the 10-fold attribute increase of the passive specialization of the limit of strength is equivalent to an increase of 240 points. 240 a day, 2,400 in 10 days, and 24,000 points in 100 days. Even if it is a 4th level warrior with a gifted big shield, the health volume will not exceed 10,000 points. Tisk, 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 this is going to turn into a blood cow. Zhang Yuan happily put on this crystal clear badge that looked like a green gem. In his mind, he had already imagined the scene of showing a blood bar as long as the boss and slashing each other face to face with swords. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Check out other gains. Wonkwon set, gold level, life +1000, strength +100, speed +100, thunder, water attribute resistance +15, attack speed +15, critical hit +20, critical damage +25. Equipment level, LV-35. Wrath of Destruction gold bow-shaped equipment, suitable for archer job transfer, attack speed +40, strength +200, critical hit +60, critical damage +55, with tearing, paralysis, thunder and other effects. Equipment level, LV-35. A gold suit and a gold level bow and arrow equipment, although they don't meet the equipment level and can't be equipped, if they are sold, they should be able to sell for a good price. Zhang Yuan thought happily. Continue to identify. Life crystal, high level, a high-level crystal with a strong breath of life, which can be used to make high-level potions and life-related equipment and props. Unknown fragment, it was accidentally obtained by Flower King Lilith in the abyss, and it was stained with a trace of terrible ancient dragon breath. Dragon breath. Zhang Yuan was stunned. Whether in the previous life or this world, dragons are well-deserved mythical creatures. A dragon-shaped life form that appeared above the city 100 years ago, 1,000 meters long, and could destroy a city at will was later confirmed to be a kind of sub-dragon, with the title Destruction Dragon, king-level life form. Sub-dragons can have such terrible power, which makes people wonder whether the legendary real dragon is some kind of mythical creature. But so far, no signs of activity of such creatures have been found. Some experts on the Star Domain website made bold guesses. According to the excavated relics, it is confirmed that there were indeed powerful creatures beyond imagination on the blue planet in ancient times, but they all disappeared in a certain period. In the modern times of the god-abandoned years, traces of suspected mythical creatures were found on the moon, proving that they may have gone to the depths of the starry sky. If the abyss leads to another world, as the turbulence of the abyss expands, will those creatures return from the starry sky one day? Shaking his head, Zhang Yuan no longer thought about it. Put away the life crystal and unknown fragments and continue to check. Eyes of Fear. Use this skill on a single target. If the target is afraid of you, all attributes will decrease by 10%. Evil Aura. After releasing the aura, your mental skill attack power plus 50%, and the mental control effects such as coercion and shock are enhanced by 50%. Zhang Yuan's eyes lit up slightly. Not bad. Click to learn directly. Then evenly distribute the free attribute points obtained from the upgrade. After doing this, he checked his current attribute panel. Character: Zhang Yuan. Race: human. Age: 17. Level: second level warrior LV18. Profession: martial god mythology. Talent: infinite amplification original supreme analysis god level undead phoenix flame SSS. Physical strength: 3640. Strength: 3900. Speed: 3780. Spirit: 4200. Luck: 10. Charm extra 10. Passive specialization: limit of strength, golden rule, fortune up. Active skills: divine evasion, starburst, super speed, martial god clone, one sword flow. Armor split, silver slash. Spirit skills: telekinesis, martial arts pressure, spiritual thorn, infinite cage, evil aura, nightmare eyes. Cultivation method: immortal body forging method, fire breathing method, sun ultimate visualization method, ripple power method. Martial arts: cracking, air strike, crimson shock, black lightning flash. Equipment: crimson wristband rare, silver white fang rare, high level, scarlet ring rare, mithril boots rare. Accessories: Lilith's badge, life value +1 per hour, with skills, plant control, last ditch effort. Contract: pet egg, god level. Materials: fallen flower, gold. Twisted wreath, gold, leg bone of dark beetle knight rare, mithril metal, heart of darkness. Remaining free attribute points 0. Why did my basic attributes become so exaggerated? Zhang Yuan was a little surprised. Counted on his fingers. From LV10 to LV18, every level up increases all attributes by 100 points, that is, 800 points. The 800 points of free attributes are evenly distributed, and the 4-dimensional attributes increase by nearly 1000 points. Add to that the basic attribute bonuses of each piece of equipment, and the overall increase brought by the sublimation of power in the battle with Fallen Bona. This is indeed the value. Nirvana in battle, sublimation in battle. Is this the essence of the martial god profession? Zhang Yuan thought to himself, with some realization. The martial god profession is indeed extremely powerful, but what is even more abnormal is undoubtedly his talent of infinite amplification. Without this talent, even if he changed his job to martial god, it would be impossible to improve to this point in a short period of time and have such abnormal combat power. Boom boom boom. The ruins began to collapse, and the ground sank and cracked. Zhang Yuan came to his senses and left the ruins with the unconscious Luo Shi. At the same time, outside, in the Education Bureau of Zhang Province. Hey, how could someone really enter the flower ruins? It shouldn't be. The white-haired boy sat on the chair, hugged his knees and sighed. Yun Zai glanced at his watch. There are still 26 hours until the end of the exam. The remaining number of people 638. It seems that the 3 people in the Worm Sea Cave will be the ones who are expected to pass this year. Yun Zai thought to himself. Just at this moment, one of the 3 light spots in the Worm Sea Cave went out, and the other 2 entered another area. Yun Zai was stunned and looked at the score list. Only 5 people were still on the top 10 of the score list. First, Zhang Yuan, 1215. Second, Lin Junhao, 763. Third, Pei Kongyan, 689. Sixth, Lin Qingyan, 651. 10th, Luo Shi, 329. Sha Qinghu, who was originally ranked 5th, had his name dimmed and was eliminated. The number 1 genius in Nanjing City can't stop the dark horse coming in with great momentum. Yun Zai sighed. He had already investigated the information of the top 10. A female staff member looked at the 2 moving light spots and thought she had seen it wrong. She pushed her glasses and looked carefully, only to find that she was not wrong. She hurriedly shouted to Yun Zai. Yun, Deputy Director Yun, he moved. The candidate ranked first moved. Yun Zai turned his head and was surprised to find that the two light spots of Lost Giant Tree had moved away from the area where they had been staying and were moving towards the deepest part. How is it possible? Did he leave the ruins? Yun Zai murmured. What? The white-haired boy also came over when he heard the movement, and his eyes widened when he saw this scene. Yun Zai laughed and patted his shoulder hard. Director Bai, you are so stupid. If you have set up a passage to leave the ruins, why don't you say it earlier? You made me worry for nothing. The white-haired boy was silent for a few seconds and said. But I don't remember setting up such a thing. Yun Zai's smile froze. Think about it. I want to set up a death trap, which is aimed at eliminating people. How can I set up an escape passage? If you want to leave the ruins, there is no third way except to crush the teleportation stone or kill the boss. Well, if that's the case. Yun Zai turned his head stiffly and looked at the huge light ball. The moving light spot swallowed his saliva. Did he really kill the boss of the ruins? No, that's impossible. The white-haired boy scratched his head in silence, distressed. I also think it's impossible, but I can't think of any other explanation, or he didn't enter the ruins at all, but fell into a maze, but I was confused and remembered the location of the ruins wrong. Yes, it's possible. Yun Zai's eyes lit up. Very likely. That's right. It's impossible for a candidate to annihilate a fourth-level boss by himself. Even the former Northern King can't do it. Yun. After solving the mystery in his mind, Zai suddenly felt better and drank the cold beer beside him. All we have to do now is wait for them to come out, and our work will be done successfully. The white-haired boy said nothing, looking at the huge ball of light, not knowing what he was thinking. Chapter 71. After Luo Shi woke up in a daze. The first reaction was confusion. I'm not dead. The second reaction was surprise. What the hell is this place? The third reaction was surprise. I've upgraded, and so many levels in a row. The spiritual realm has also been fully restored. What's going on? She looked at her attribute panel, couldn't believe it, pinched her pink cheeks, and suspected that she was dreaming. It hurts, not dreaming. Did he save me? Luo Shi murmured to herself, thinking of the back figure in the hazy memory. Her eyes flickered. Quote, look again. I found that I had been removed from the team. He throws it away after use. What a cruel man. Luo Shi curled her lips. Where did he go alone? Could he have been eliminated? Luo Shi turned her head and looked around, searching for Zhang Yuan's whereabouts. She was now on a huge leaf, surrounded by a sea of clouds formed by green tree shades. She should be at a very high altitude. Bang! A loud noise came from a distance, startling her, and she looked up hurriedly. A golden human-shaped giant ant with antennae, 5 meters tall, and golden body, seemed to be smashed out by some kind of huge force, and was heavily embedded in the huge tree trunk. A large sunken hole with a diameter of 100 meters and cracks all over the tree trunk was smashed. She saw the label on the head of the human-shaped golden ant. Luo Shi was stunned for a moment. Boss of the Lost Giant Tree map. Golden Ant Man, LV-28. It's actually a third-level boss monster. Luo Shi was a little surprised and confused at the same time. Isn't the boss the strongest in the hidden map? How could he be beaten away? It seems that its health bar is less than half left. Who is it? Caw. Golden Ant Man pulled his arm out of the hole in the tree trunk and raised his head. Shua! A golden ray of light shot out from its tentacles and shot somewhere. Boom! A huge explosion exploded above Luo Shi, forcing her to use a mental barrier to block the hot wind of the explosion. Golden Ant Man's bent legs kicked heavily on the tree trunk, and his body burst out. A red light also rushed out from the explosion smoke. 2 rays of light, one gold and one red, collided in the air. Bang! Another extremely dull collision sound. 2 terrifying air pressures collided, exploded, air waves surged, and shock waves spread like ripples. Swoosh! The golden figure flew back at a faster speed and smashed into the tree trunk again, making the original hole deeper and bigger. The red light also chased and rushed into the tree hole, attacking the Golden Ant Man continuously. Bang 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 bang. The huge collision sound of fists hitting flesh continued to sound, and the tree trunk with a diameter of 1 kilometer was shaking slightly. Luo Shi felt frightened just by looking at it. What kind of beast is this? It's too scary. Is it going to drill through this giant tree? It didn't drill through, but just hit the heart of the tree, and the movement stopped. As the smoke dissipated, Luo Shi hurriedly used the illusionist skill to create an illusion to hide her body, and at the same time, she restrained her breath and quietly hid aside to observe secretly. She didn't want to be targeted by such a monster. Although she had already become a second-level transfer warrior, with her small body, she might be beaten into a pulp with one punch. In her field of vision, a human figure appeared at the edge of the huge hole, holding the burnt and broken body of the golden ant-man in his hand. A jump. The human-shaped beast with the lifeless golden ant-man fell on the leaf where Luo Shi was, scaring her half to death. But then, a familiar voice came from there. "Why are you hiding there?" Luo Shi was stunned, and looked closely. The smoke and dust surrounding the human-shaped beast dissipated, revealing a black shirt and black pants. Looking at the familiar black hair and golden eyes of the boy, Luo Shi widened her eyes. You. That humanoid beast is you. What humanoid beast? Are you confused or amnesiac? Zhang Yuan didn't bother to pay attention to her. He sat down and started to eat the roasted ant legs while checking the rewards of killing the third-level regional boss. In addition to experience points and several mid-level life crystals, there is also a power fruit that can permanently increase 10 points of strength. 2 rare high-level equipment that can only be equipped by LV30. A skill book called Ant's Strength. The learning condition is to reach 2000 strength value. After using the skill, the speed is reduced by 90% and the strength is increased by 300%. The disadvantage is that the cooling time is long. Zhang Yuan did not hesitate and learned it directly. The rest is a super rare material called Secret Gold, which can be used to make equipment. How did you do it? You are at level 3. How did we escape from the ruins? Did you save me? How did I level up so many levels? After Luo Shi came back to her senses from the shock, she kept asking questions beside Zhang Yuan. It was annoying to have her experience robbed, and she had to endure harassment. Zhang Yuan was so annoyed that he grabbed a piece of ant meat and stuffed it into her mouth. Shut up. After learning the truth that Zhang Yuan killed the boss of the ruins and shared half of the experience to let her level up so many levels, Luo Shi was completely dumbfounded, and her brain crashed for 7 or 8 seconds. You said you killed that 4th level ruins boss? Yes. You are only 2nd level now. Yes. ... Luo Shi was silent, looking at Zhang Yuan as if he was a monster. Zhang Yuan ate barbecue without saying a word. 2 minutes later, Luo's eyes' thin lips moved slightly, and he uttered 2 words. Pervert. Zhang Yuan was unhappy on the spot. Who are you talking about? Luo Shi retorted. That's right. A 2nd-level person can kill a 4th-level person alone. Isn't this perverted? I've never heard of it. Even SSS-level awakeners can't do it. We are all the same age. How can you be as strong as a cheat? How can I compare with you? Don't talk nonsense. I haven't asked you to settle the account for half of my experience. In addition to saving my life, when you go back, you have to give me at least 500 million. Luo Shi blinked when he heard it. Just 500 million. ... Yes. What's wrong? 500 million is 500 million. It's a deal. Don't regret it, Luo Shi said hurriedly. Zhang Yuan saw the cunning look between her eyebrows and reacted immediately. It's too little. Rich people. The weather was very hot, and the weather was very hot. Nanjing City. The heavy rain was pouring down, and it had been pouring for a day and a night. Dao Yufeng looked out the window and cooked in the kitchen, humming a little song, feeling good. I'm back, Mo Shishi's cheerful voice sounded. The girl kicked off her shoes, jumped into the sofa, picked up the tablet on the table and started to read. Dao Yufeng looked at her. How was the test result today? It broke 6. You didn't see the expressions of the teachers and classmates in the class. Qingqing was stunned. Mo Shishi said with a smile. Dao Yufeng smiled. Not bad. The potions Xiaoyuan gave you were not fed to the pigs. Of course. She jumped onto the sofa and stood up, with her hands on her hips, laughing. I, Mo Shishi, will become a genius girl who will become a demon king in the future. Although I am not as good as Brother Yuan, I will have no problem sweeping across no. One middle school and suppressing the abyss with one hand, ha 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 ha. Dao Yufeng was amused and said, don't be funny, go wash your hands and get ready for dinner. Downstairs, the hooded man stood in the heavy rain with his hands in his pockets, looking up at Mo Shishi's house and laughing strangely. Found it, found it. It's here. His name is Mu Mian, a believer in the abyss, codenamed Alien Man, who follows the will of the abyss to find the families of those geniuses and bless and assimilate them. Just as he walked towards the elevator door opened. A blue-haired girl with her eyes covered by black satin appeared in front of him. She smiled and said, hello, Alien Man. 10 seconds later, Alien Man was executed. Yan Runin wiped the blood off her hands with a handkerchief, looked up at the leaden sky, and remembered a text message Zhang Yuan sent her before the college entrance examination. If you can take care of the safety of my family, I can promise you to join Shengwu University. It seems that after the incident at the Thunder Martial Arts School, he realized that the Abyss believers would come to him. Smarter than I thought. Yan Runin smiled. Know how to use resources and connections, and understand the principle of equal value transactions. I really didn't make a mistake about him. Throwing away the blood-stained handkerchief, Yan Runin held up an umbrella and walked into the rain, her red lips slightly raised. Welcome to school, Zhang Yuan. Patrol Division. Zhang Wei lit a cigarette and looked out the window. It's raining so hard. Under such a heavy rain, I don't know how many sins are growing in the darkness. Chongming Martial Arts Hall. A new model of silver-white shuttle stopped. Xu Yian opened the door and was surprised to see Ji Feiyue and the others. President, why are you here? Roy poked his head out and said with a smile, isn't today the last day of the college entrance examination? Everyone is here to wait for Zhang Yuan to become the top scorer. Ji Feiyue smiled and said, although we can see it in the star field, it is more lively when everyone is together. Reina, I brought beer and fried chicken from the store, let's eat together. A group of people sat on the floor of Chongming Martial Arts Hall, eating fried chicken and drinking beer, watching the live broadcast on the screen in front of them. The sweet-looking female anchor sat on a flying prop, suspended in the air, with a huge score list behind her. Hello, everyone, I am Moyu. Guess where I am now? Moyu is also very cute today. Where is this? It seems to be in school. Aren't you going to practice martial arts with Sasha today? I really want to see women fighting. +1. The barrage flew by. As a live streamer with more than 100,000 fans, there are now more than 10,000 people watching in the live broadcast room. Moyu smiled at the camera and said, actually, I'm now at Nanjing City's Wudao number 1 middle school. This year, Nanjing City's number 1 middle school is undoubtedly the most watched school in Zhang Province. Please watch. The camera swept around, and the people in the live broadcast room were boiling. Is it really Nanjing number 1 middle school? Isn't it raining there? I was also in Nanjing and it was raining heavily. Stupid, didn't you see the magic circle above? The rain was blocked. I saw the principal of No. 1 middle school, Lu He, who is a 7th level big shot. So many students, weren't they eliminated? Why haven't they left yet? Is that Xia Qinghu? He was also eliminated. The camera swept across the podium and saw some people wearing badges and exuding a powerful aura, and someone in the live broadcast room exclaimed. Hiss. Those people seem to be the top 4 teachers. Opening square bracket. I saw it too. They came for enrollment, right? Wait, it seems that they are not the only ones here. Commander Liu of the Inspection Department, President Luo of the Pharmacist Association, the Patriarch of the Xia family, and even the President of the Silver Wolf Guild are here. Hiss. These are all big names that often appear on TV. This time, Nanjing number 1 middle school has become famous throughout the province, so it is not surprising that they have attracted these big names. If you can stand out in the college entrance examination and be noticed by these big names, you will really soar to the sky. I am so envious. Moyu looked at the barrage and smiled. Do you know who is the most popular candidate now? Nonsense. Who doesn't know this? It must be the one with the highest points. It seems to be Zhang Yuan. It has been on the hot search in the star field these days. What is his origin? Yes, it's him. Moyu smiled and controlled the camera to aim at the points ranking list. The name of the first place Zhang Yuan was shining with golden light, extremely dazzling. With a score of nearly 1,200 points, he surpassed the top genius of Beijing City with SS-level talent and our Nanjing City's #1 genius Xia Qinghu. It can be said that there is no one before and no one after. He suddenly appeared a dozen days before the college entrance examination. As a dark horse, he was a dark horse all the way. If there is no accident, he should be the martial arts champion of Zhang Province this year. And, Moyu blinked at the camera and whispered. According to my gossip, Qin Nansen, who is known as the genius of the Qin family, was eliminated by him. As he said, he also gave a shot to Qin Nansen in the distance. He sat there, with his head down, and he was completely spiritless, as if he was shrouded by an invisible shadow. The barrage in the live broadcast room quickly passed by. Hiss. Is this the grandson of Qin Luoshui of the Sword Sect? Wasn't he so proud before? Why is he like a jerk now? It seems that the blow is not small. I think his sword heart is broken. How terrifying is Zhang Yuan that he can become like this. I believe everyone is curious about who this candidate named Zhang Yuan is and what he looks like. The college entrance examination is about to end. Pay attention to the Moyu live broadcast room. Moyu will show you the true face of this top scorer in Zhang Province. Moyu said cunningly. While the number of people in the Moyu live broadcast room continued to increase. The vice principal glanced at her and said to Lu He beside him, Principal, don't worry about it, okay? Lu He glanced, oh, that girl. She is my niece. Do you think she is okay? Vice principal, as if I didn't ask. I didn't expect you to come too. Luo Ningyan, a middle-aged beauty wearing a green robe, dignified and beautiful, with a graceful figure, glanced at the indifferent middle-aged man beside her and smiled. Why, the inspection department also intends to win over this year's top scholar. Is it not possible? Lu Bili said calmly. He decided to come and see after hearing Zhang Wei's description. Everyone knows that the inspection department has many things to do but few resources, no freedom and danger. If it were my daughter, I would never let her join the inspection department. Luo Ningyan said with her arms folded, her chest was squeezed out and towered. Lu Bili was silent for a few seconds, and said calmly, some things have to be done by someone. The two of them were very busy, and the two of them were very busy. Zhang Yuan and Luo Shi came to the final location of the dungeon. This is a dangerous jungle with thunder and lightning interweaving, dry air, and you will be struck by lightning if you are not careful. Ding! You have arrived at the final trial location of the dungeon, the Sea of Trees King Court. When the two arrived here, Pei Kongyan and Lin Qingyan had already arrived. Seeing Zhang Yuan, Lin Qingyan's eyes flickered, but she didn't say anything. Oh, she looked at Luo Shi and said with her thin lips, even you can get here. It's really surprising. Quote quote. Luo's eyes veins jumped twice in the corners of his eyes, and then he calmed down. She hugged her arms, squeezed out the proud hills, and glanced at Lin Qingyan with contempt, and her charming and pure white face showed a mocking smile. I think you are talking about yourself. It's really a big joke that a healer can appear here. I don't need it at all. Lin Qingyan said coldly. Luo's eyes gaze just now made her very unhappy. It's just a pair of big thunders, who cares? Ignore the two people who met and bickered and confronted each other. Zhang Yuan looked at the girl with silver hair and gray eyes standing behind the skeleton knight, and thought to himself. What a strong breath of death. Is she the rumored necromancer who awakened the SS-level talent? Pei Kongyan was also looking at him curiously, wondering why his vitality was so strong. Crack! A bolt of lightning fell from the treetops. Zhang Yuan didn't even look at it, and let the lightning strike him. Under the surprised gazes of the three women, he said, there is something strange here, even though he was unharmed and had an electric current all over his body. Quote. Luo Shi looked strange. I think you are the biggest weirdo. The silver-haired girl held the staff and nodded softly. Well, we haven't encountered a single beast since we came here. Besides that, there is a strange smell. Lin Qingyan put her hands in her jacket pockets, her black hair like a waterfall, and her snow-white face slightly frowned. This smell was dark, filthy, and ominous, and inexplicably reminded her of several king-level beasts she had fought in her previous life. But this was a college entrance examination dungeon trial, and after layers of inspection by the Education Bureau, it was impossible for that kind of existence to appear. She keenly sensed the movement and looked over there. Boom! The ground suddenly cracked. Swish! Several black and slippery vines as thick as wells and with viscous liquid emerged from the ground like tentacles and rolled towards the people on the ground. Zhang Yuan glanced, and his telekinesis turned into a knife, crushing the attacking vines. Luo Shi released his skills, creating a black mirror in front of him, sucking the vines into it. Lin Qingyan uttered 2 words lightly. Thunder net. Thunder and lightning surged in all directions, weaving into a net, arcs interweaving, completely crushing the black vines. The skeleton knight in front of the silver-haired girl swung his sword to split the vines in 2. The first wave of attacks just stopped. The next second, the chopped and crushed black vines regenerated rapidly. The silver-haired girl whispered, "Skeleton bomb." A large number of skeleton flying insects rose from the ground in front of her, rushed towards the twisting and attacking black vines, and exploded. After the huge explosion, most of the black vines were burned out, and a few fragments fell from the air. Without waiting for a few people to catch their breath, swoosh, 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 more black vines twisted and continued to drill out from the ground, like strands of hair growing from the earth. Some of these vines grew black spikes, and some had bloody mouths full of sharp teeth, surrounding the 4 people in the middle. Luo Shi was shocked. What on earth is this thing? It looks like some kind of clone, similar to a tentacle. If you don't deal with the main body, you will never kill them all. Lin Qingyan said with a cold face. Thunder is coming. The rich thunder attribute around her turned into countless thunders that fell with her command, turning all the black vines around into ashes. Seeing this scene, Luo Shi suddenly understood. So you are a spellcaster, no wonder. I'm not, Lin Qingyan said coldly, and cast 2 more divine spell effects on herself. Shield, speed up. She kicked her feet while covered in the golden shield, and turned into a golden light and rushed in one direction against the lightning around her. Zhang Yuan looked in that direction. In his spiritual perception, there seemed to be a black ball of light over there, which was constantly radiating strong malice. Lin Qingyan arrived first, followed by Zhang Yuan and the other 2. What appeared in front of the 4 people was a huge meat mountain throne. The giant tree man with lightning all over his body fell in front, and was pierced by countless black vines and drained into a dead tree. On the throne of the meat mountain covered with the bones of fierce beasts, there sat a young figure wearing a green robe. He was pale, but his handsome face was extremely happy, revealing an unspeakable weirdness. Lin Junhao. Lin Qingyan was stunned when she saw the man, and was extremely surprised. Lin Junhao slowly opened his eyes and looked down. It's Qingyan. She is worthy of being my half-sister to be able to come here. What a pity. You were late. Lin Junhao tilted his head with a click, opened his mouth, and pulled out his long tongue with his hand. This boss has been eaten by me. He. Listening to his shrill laughter and looking at his weird appearance, even Luo Shi found something wrong. Lin Junhao, are you crazy? Oh, Luo Shi, it's you. Lin Junhao tilted his head, stood up from the throne stiffly, inserted his fingers into his temples and gently rotated them. I've wanted to play with you since before, I confessed to you, but you didn't agree. I'm so happy that you can appear here. Ha ha ha. Lin Junhao laughed wildly with joy. His eyeballs moved wildly in his eye sockets, a purple eye appeared between his eyebrows, looking at the 4 people. Boom. In an instant, a terrible and terrifying mental pressure fell on the 4 people. Luo Shi seemed to have seen the most terrifying thing, and his face turned pale in an instant. The silver-haired girl clenched the staff in her hand. Lin Qingyan frowned. Zhang Yuan looked at the purple eye and finally felt the source of the familiarity. He drew his sword forward. So that's it, he was also contaminated by the flesh and blood of the strange creature. Lin Qingyan looked at him. What do you mean? It's the flesh and blood left by the king-level creature that appeared in the hollow cavity and planned to invade Nanjiang City. Zhang Yuan drew his sword and stepped forward. The simple words immediately made Lin Qingyan's pupils shrink slightly, and she understood something instantly. You, and Lin Qingyan, my good sister, none of you can escape today. Lin Junhao opened his arms, and his arms instantly stretched out, turning into black vines like dense snakes, and attacked the 4 people overwhelmingly. The voice that didn't sound like a human echoed in the darkness. Merge with me. The rainstorm was getting heavier, the day was as dark as night, and thunder streaked across the sky. In a courtroom. Bang! The gavel fell rhythmically. The people in the room sat quietly, the lawyers danced, and the prosecutors hugged their arms. No one made a sound. This was a silent trial. Kazi. A thunder flashed outside the house, and the pale lightning illuminated the house. See. The judge and the judge, the prisoner and the plaintiff, the relatives and the jury were all decapitated, leaving only the headless corpses sitting in their seats, carrying out the trial steps like puppets. A man sat in the back row of the jury, wearing a high-end suit, elegantly crossed his legs, and a meaningful smile appeared on the lower half of his face. It's started. What? Asked the tall figure leaning against the wall with his arms folded. The judge at the highest point raised his palm, and the flesh and blood on his palm squirmed into a mouth, making a girl's crisp voice. The foreplay of destruction. Headquarters of the Education Bureau of Zhang Province. Beep beep beep. The red alarm sounded non-stop, and the staff hurried. A black dot appeared on the huge white light ball showing the copy map, and the black dot was spreading. As this, the breath of the abyss. Yun Ziyi looked extremely ugly. How could this be? The white-haired boy seemed to see something, frowned, with a hint of anger. It turned out to be him. Yun Ziyi, him. The king-level creature in the S-level abyss number 37, codenamed Yin Lord. The white-haired boy said coldly. King realm. Yun Ziyi's eyes widened in shock. There were reports that he had descended to Nanjing City through a hollow cavity. I guess he must have left some tricks behind that time. He used the contaminated clone to cover up the copy world, avoided the border of Daxia, and let his body descend to Daxia through the copy world. The white-haired boy's face became uglier and gloomy. What's more troublesome is that once his body completely controls the copy, we don't know which city he will suddenly appear in, and the entire Zhang province will be in great threat. How could it be? Yun Ziyi, an 8th-level transfer warrior, was pale at this moment and couldn't help swallowing his saliva. If a king-level creature suddenly descended without any warning, I'm afraid a city would be destroyed, and the pollution caused would be unimaginable. How many casualties would be caused at that time? He didn't dare to think about it. Yes, we have to report it to the headquarters immediately. Yun Ziyi said in a trembling voice. It's too late. The white-haired boy's tender face was extremely solemn, revealing a strong sense of majesty. I'll go there now. We must not let him take control of the dungeon world. You immediately use the highest authority to announce the end of the college entrance examination and let all the remaining candidates leave the trial dungeon. As the white-haired boy said this, his body was digitized, and with a blue light, he instantly disappeared from the spot. Yun Ziyi wiped his face, took a deep breath, and immediately gave an order. Now I announce the end of the college entrance examination. Send a notice to the 384 candidates who are still in the dungeon, asking them to crush the teleportation stone immediately and leave the dungeon world, otherwise their scores will be treated as 0. Ah, yes. Deputy Director, the Shuai Wangding in the deepest part of the dungeon has fallen, and we can't contact the 5 candidates who entered it. The female staff member turned her head and said in panic. Yun Ziyi's heart sank to the bottom of the valley in an instant. At the same time, Shuai Wangding. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Tens of thousands of black vines came from the sky, densely packed. Illusion. Luo Shi performed an illusion, splitting her body into 9, constantly switching between the phantoms to avoid the vines' attacks. Her tense and solemn expression showed that she was not at ease at the moment. The silver-haired girl Pei Kongyan sat on the shoulder of the skeleton knight, and the skeleton army around her formed an area of her own, but under the erosion and attack of the vines, the skeleton army continued to decrease. Compared to the two of them, Zhang Yuan and Lin Qingyan were much calmer. One kept punching, blasting the attacking vines in the air. One spoke a divine word, attracting thunder from all directions, turning into a thunder field surrounding the body, and being invulnerable to all methods. But whether these black vines were chopped or blasted, they would immediately regenerate and reproduce, like endless locusts. Lin Qingyan, isn't he your brother? Hurry up and make him stop. Luo Shi resisted with difficulty, while shouting at Lin Qingyan. He is no longer Lin Junhao now, but has been contaminated and parasitized by a terrifying abyss creature. Lin Qingyun's tone was colder than ever before. The real Lin Junhao is dead. Now he is the clone of that monster. What? Luo Shi and Pei Kongyun turned their heads at the same time. She is right, Zhang Yuan said. According to the rules of the exam, the examinee who kills the final boss can pass the dungeon and be teleported away, but he killed the boss but still stayed here, violating the rules, which is enough to prove that he is no longer a examinee now. Hey. Lin Junhao stood on the throne of flesh and blood, his flesh and blood squirming, his bones twisting and turning, greedily absorbing power through the black vines inserted into the corpse of the beast, emitting thick black mist all over his body. The black mist poured into the sky, dyeing the sky and thunder black, and also causing a blood-red crack in the sky, and the crack was still expanding. Lin Qingyun looked at this scene with an extremely ugly face. 37th S-Class Abyss Lord, codenamed Yin Lord. The disaster that Nanjiang City encountered in the previous life was because of him. But, how could it be so early? I didn't hear that there was any problem with the college entrance examination in the previous life. No, it might be that the news was hidden. Watching the bloody crack in the sky getting bigger and bigger, Lin Qingyun also immediately understood what he was going to do. He immediately turned his head to look at Zhang Yuan and others, and said sternly, "Take action together. We must not let him leave here alive. I know it without you saying it," Zhang Yuan said, slowly pulling out the silver white tooth from his waist. The king of the world was in chaos, and the king of the world was in chaos. It seemed that he had heard their words. On the throne of flesh and blood, Lin Junhao, who had lost his human form, laughed a strange laugh of contempt and ridicule. He, humble and lowly human insects, do you know who you are facing? Ants. The purple eye on his forehead burst into purple light, and an invisible force instantly enveloped the entire area, twisting and shattering all the lightning that struck him. Lin Qingyun let out a clear sigh. Shelter. A white light shield engraved with an inscription appeared, covering the four people like an upside-down bowl. Boom. Bang. As the invisible force descended, the terrifying twisting force directly turned the ground with a diameter of dozens of meters outside the four people into a broken ruin. Empty. The white light shield shook violently and only lasted for 5 seconds before it shattered. The silver-haired girl raised the staff in her hand and shouted tenderly, "Wall of the Dead." In an instant, a huge wall formed by a combination of bones rose from the ground and blocked the four people in front. Luo Shi also used his talent, Mirror of the Dark. The black mirror was embedded in the bone wall, reflecting some of the damage. But the combined skills of the two only lasted for 3 seconds before it shattered. But fortunately, the attack was blocked, before Luo Shi could breathe a sigh of relief. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless black vines gathered in the sky and turned into a black giant hand that covered the sky and the sun. A mountain-like shadow enveloped the four people, and the black giant hand smashed down with a force of 10,000 kilograms. There was no escape. Lin Qingyun was about to make a move, but saw the black-haired and golden-eyed boy beside her take a step forward, his black clothes fluttering, looking up at the black giant hand that was falling, and his golden eyes repeatedly looked at the blazing flames in the mirror. Blessing, Lin Qingyun said. Buzz. An ancient golden halo with inscriptions instantly appeared around Zhang Yuan, causing his aura to surge. Okay, the buff is good. Zhang Yuan glanced at Lin Qingyun approvingly. Luo Shi was a little confused when she saw this scene. These two people looked like they knew each other before. Could they have any private interactions? Although it was not the time to ask this, she was inexplicably concerned in her heart. Zhang Yuan bent his legs and kicked hard. Bang! A strong wind was lifted, and a figure burst out. A knife slashed out. Shua. Under Pei Kongyun's shocked eyes, the air was torn apart, and a crimson knife light 100 meters long shot up into the sky, sweeping across the black giant hand. Crack. The black giant hand broke with a bang, and the cut surface was smooth. Zhang Yuan, who jumped high into the air, held the silver white tooth in both hands and slashed down fiercely. Another knife. Shua. The black giant hand was completely chopped into pieces, turning into countless fragments that scattered like rain. HMPH. On the flesh and blood throne, Lin Junhao, who only had a human head left, snorted coldly. The next moment, countless sticky tentacles shot from the flesh and blood hill to Zhang Yuan in the air. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Fast. Zhang Yuan instantly disappeared from the air, avoiding the attack while appearing in front of the flesh and blood throne. Die. Lin Junhao's eyes flashed purple. Mental storm plus polluted whispering. The polluted whispering just rose in his ears. Zhang Yuan's eyes condensed with golden light. Deterrence. Boom. An extremely pure and hot martial arts pressure instantly shattered the whispering, crushing the incoming mental shock like the sun, and crushing Lin Junhao. A trace of human fear appeared on his twisted face. There is still fear in the remaining human nature. This is instinct. Zhang Yuan seized this moment and released his skills. A circle of gray aura emitting evil breath surrounded his body, and a black light flashed in his eyes. Evil aura, eyes of fear. The two mental skills were used together, and the effect was significant. The creature transformed by Lin Junhao instantly fell into a state of fear, and its attributes decreased. Good opportunity. Lin Qingyan immediately condensed the terrifying cold air to form an ice spear. Swoosh. The ice spear turned into a blue meteor and shot out, piercing the meat mountain formed by the combination of the beast's corpses. The coldness exploded. Everything froze. The meat mountain instantly turned into an icicle. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Luo Shi was shocked. She turned out to be a dual-talented ability user. Noticed Luo's eyes gaze. Lin Qingyan glanced at her and said, "Don't stand there, you are not legendary class. I can only control him for a while." Quote. The implication is, why don't you do any damage? Of course I know. Luo Shi said, releasing his strongest attack so far. Illusionary realm. Nether bird. A pair of huge purple eyes appeared in midair, and a strange purple light covered the entire sky. A huge black flame bird emerged from the sky. Although it was an illusion, under the effect of Luo's eyes talent, nether light, it has undergone a qualitative change from virtual to real. Cry. The black bird cried and flapped its wings to hit the icicle. Bang. The mountain-sized icicle was violently shaken by the impact, and the blood bar above the head was reduced by 1/5. Undead missile. Cursed spear. Soul fire. Quote. Pei Kongyan whispered. His staff glowed, and a gray magic circle appeared in front of him. Dense blue flames, bone spears, and black missiles shot out from the magic circle in front of him, hitting the icicle with a powerful force that could not be ignored. Boom, boom, boom. Amid Lin Junhao's painful howls, his health bar continued to decrease. Crimson lightning flash. Zhang Yuan's eyes were like fire, and he punched out with a fusion of black lightning and crimson shock, with unparalleled momentum, shattering his upper body that was fused with the flesh and blood throne. It also completely cleared his health bar. In an instant, the icicle shattered, and the flesh and blood corpse collapsed like a flood. Quote. Lin Junhao, with only a head left, first let out a piercing scream, and then suddenly turned into a weird laugh. His head was suspended in the sky, looking down at Zhang Yuan and the others. Hee, it's too late. Just when Lin Qingyan sensed the danger, Zhang Yuan flashed and appeared in front of the three people. The next second, countless blood-red rays shot out from the crack in the sky and came to the four people at a speed almost as fast as light. Bang 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 bang. Quote. Accompanied by a series of terrifying explosions, small mushroom clouds rose from the ground, and the air waves several meters high lifted the surface of the earth, and the earth cracked layer by layer. Wait until the smoke of 100 meters high dissipated. Four figures appeared in the depths of the pit. Luo Shi, who was covered in dust, held the staff with both hands, gasping for breath, and the blood volume on his head was reduced by a quarter. Pei Kongyan's skeleton army was gone, half kneeling on the ground with the staff, his little face was pale, and his blood volume was left with 1/3. Lin Qingyan was covered with scars, the ice wall around her was withered and broken, her beautiful little face was pale, and her blood volume was less than a quarter, he looked a bit embarrassed. Zhang Yuan, who was standing in front of the three people, was covered with wounds, with more than a dozen piercing wounds all over his body. The wound on his left arm was so deep that the bone was visible. Light golden blood kept flowing. Only half of the silver-white tooth in his hand was left, and his blood volume was less than 1/10. Looking at his back, Zhang Yuan, Luo Shi was a little moved. Pei Kongyan looked grateful. Lin Qingyan looked at him with a complicated expression. If he hadn't resisted most of the damage just now, he would have been seriously injured even though he had a trump card and would not die. As for the other two, they would have died on the spot. No need to say thank you. Let's think about how to deal with that one. Quote. Zhang Yuan threw away the silver-white fang in his hand, not caring about the injuries on his body, staring at the sky and said. With his current recovery ability, as long as it is not a broken arm or leg or a fatal injury, he can fully recover within a minute. Several people looked up following Zhang Yuan's gaze. A huge and thick black mud flowed out of the bloody crack in the sky, fell from the sky, and merged with Lin Junhao's head in the air. It was constantly twisting and emitting a trace of disturbing breath. The dead are gone, and the dead are gone. Ominous, filthy, evil, unknown, dark. These words appeared in Luo Zai's mind involuntarily. Are we really opponents of that thing? Luo Shi murmured. How can we kill it when we can't even see its health bar? Zhang Yuan didn't know. He felt an unprecedented dangerous aura from that thing, which made his hair stand on end. Healing Ring. Lin Qingyan released her first talent, and a cross-shaped white halo appeared behind her, emitting a healing white light. The four were enveloped by white light, their wounds recovered quickly, and their health bars rose rapidly. Especially Zhang Yuan, whose wounds grew granulations at a speed visible to the naked eye and healed quickly. Do you have any equipment like a knife or a spear? Zhang Yuan asked with a glance. Lin Qingyan took out a rare high-level black tang sword and threw it to him without saying a word. Black Wolf Killing Blade, rare high level. Pei Kongyan also took out a golden war spear. Is this okay? Meteoric gold spear, rare high level. Yes. Zhang Yuan was not polite at all. He held a knife in one hand and a spear in the other, looking up at the black mud ball in the air that was still deforming and wriggling. The outside world will not fail to notice the movement here. As long as you hold on a little longer, someone may come to rescue you. The premise is to survive. The three women nodded. Suddenly, the earth shook violently, and countless boulders mixed with the flesh and blood of ferocious beasts rose from the ground and came to the black mud. In the solemn eyes of several people, a portion of the black mud was separated and fused with boulders, flesh, and corpses, forming three giant one-eyed stone giants. Abyss Beast Contaminated Stone Giant. Grade Elite. Level LV29. Skills Heavy Attack, Charge, Roar, Ground Shock, Stone Body, Frenzy, Power of the Earth. Evaluation: a stone life form that has been given life by a terrifying existence, with huge attack power and extremely difficult to kill. Bang! The three stone giants fell heavily to the ground, and the earth seemed to be shaking. Roar! The stone giants standing in three directions, surrounding Zhang Yuan and the other four, roared, and the sound waves shook the sky. Hiss! LV29 third level elite monsters, still 3. Luo Shi swallowed his saliva. Lin Qingyan's face was also a little ugly. She is only LV14 now. Even if she tries her best, she can only deal with one at most. The level difference is too big. I'll take care of two of them, and you guys will take care of the remaining one. Zhang Yuan's voice came from his ears. The three girls were stunned. Without waiting for them to speak, Zhang Yuan had already kicked his feet, and with a thunderous sonic boom, he shot out towards the stone giant in front of him. Roar! The stone giant punched, split the sky. A golden light flashed in the air, and a straight golden light instantly penetrated the entire arm of the stone giant. Boom! The stone giant's right arm, which was dozens of meters long and as thick as a house, exploded instantly. Zhang Yuan appeared behind it, his expression cold, and his left-hand black knife slashed fiercely. One knife flow, armor split, silver cut, swish. 100 meters of silver knife light swept by. A gray-white light flashed on the stone giant's body, and a granite-like shield appeared. The power of this knife was blocked by the shield and reduced by half. Ha! A shadow enveloped Zhang Yuan, a strong wind blew from the top of his head, and another stone giant's big hand slapped down. Zhang Yuan was hit by the big hand like slapping a fly, and his body fell into the ground like a meteor. Bang! The ground exploded. Pei Kongyan couldn't help but cover his mouth. Is he okay? He won't die from that kind of attack. Lin Qingyan said, emitting an ice blue light all over her body, cold air bursting out, black hair fluttering, and ice eyes as sharp as a knife. Swish, swish, swish. One after another, ice spears gathered in front of her and shot out at the approaching stone giant. Bang, bang, bang. The ice spears pierced into the stone body, causing damage while the cold air spread, forming ice on the surface of the stone giant, making its body become extremely slow. Luo Shi poured a bottle of tonic to restore mental strength into his mouth and released a big move again. Pei Kongyan also tried to consume his physical strength, constantly creating undead missiles and bombarding the stone giant. From entering the ruins till now, they have almost reached their limit. Freeze, cut, shatter, lightning spear. Lin Qingyan released 4 divine words in a row, and various elements and rules attacked the stone giant. The body exploded, reducing its health. On the other side, Zhang Yuan's figure burst out from the ground and jumped in front of a stone giant. At this moment, his whole body was burning with crimson blood, his golden eyes were like lightning, his black hair was dancing wildly, and his momentum was amazing. Martial arts pressure plus spiritual thorns. The stone giant's body suddenly stagnated. Swish! The golden spear in his hand carried the power of fire and spiral crimson blood, piercing the surface shield of the stone giant with the momentum of thousands of troops. Ripple shock. The majestic blood turned into ripples, like a blood-red lightning running fast, with a devastating vibration and shattering force spreading to the whole body of the stone giant along with this blow. The stone giant was violently shaken, the shield disappeared, and the combined body began to faintly break. Zhang Yuan clenched his right fist again, and hit the tail of the spear with a heavy punch with black thunder. Black thunder flashed. Bang! Accompanied by a deafening explosion of air, the golden spear that pierced the stone giant like a nail instantly turned into a golden light that penetrated the stone giant. Zhang Yuan held the knife in his left hand and slashed it expressionlessly, splitting the stone giant in half. Ding! You killed the contaminated stone giant. LV29, experience plus 2893. Before he could breathe a sigh of relief, the ground suddenly shook violently, and an extremely powerful shock wave rushed out like magma, knocking him into the air. Boom boom boom. Several stone pillars rushed out of the ground like bamboo shoots, and the sharp stone tips pierced Zhang Yuan's body. Puff! Blood bloomed. Zhang Yuan endured the pain and smashed the stone tip with a backhand punch. The next second, a shadow enveloped. Roar! The other stone giant roared and raised his hands, grabbed Zhang Yuan, and tried to crush him. The power of ants. Zhang Yuan used his newly acquired skills, and the shadow of a golden ant appeared outside his body. His power suddenly surged. In the incredible and shocked eyes of the ant, he forcibly opened the palm of the stone giant. Ha! After falling to the ground and taking a deep breath, Zhang Yuan looked at the remaining stone giant again, holding a black knife, and began to run towards it quickly. At the same time, outside, Nanzhong Wudao No. 1 Middle School. A group of students and teachers looked at the sky above the magic circle in the playground with astonishment. There was a distortion of space, and black lightning intertwined, exuding an unsettling atmosphere. The vice principal said, "Principal, the Education Bureau just sent a notice saying that the college entrance examination ended early." Lu He was shocked. What? But we still have students who haven't come back. Did they say what happened? This, not. The dean guessed. Could it be that something happened in the copy? Suddenly, a sudden blood-red lightning bolt fell from the sky, splitting the school's defensive magic circle and striking the playground. Kang! The sword flashed and directly shattered the blood lightning. Everyone and the students saw Lu Bili appearing above the playground. He turned his head and glanced sideways, saying, "Leave here quickly." The teachers reacted and immediately took the students in the class out of the magic circle and came to a safe area. Chen Hao couldn't help but say, "Teacher Zhang, Yuanzi hasn't come out yet." Guan Xiaoxiao, I heard that the college entrance examination is over. What happened? Zhang Yiming smiled bitterly. I don't know either, this has never happened before. He looked at the playground with worry. In addition to Lu Bili, Principal Lu He, Vice Principal, admissions teachers of the 4 major colleges and Luo Ningyan were all present, looking solemnly at the constantly twisting space above the magic circle. The border between the dungeon world and reality has been distorted. There is no doubt that something happened in the dungeon. Lu Bili frowned at this moment. What happened? Luo Ningyan's dignified and beautiful face was full of worry. Luo Shi, please don't be in trouble. The stone giant in front of Lin Qingyan and the other 2 girls collapsed with a loud noise, and his whole body froze. On the other side, the stone giant in front of Zhang Yuan was also blown up and completely shattered. Except for Zhang Yuan, who still had plenty of physical strength. Lin Qingyan and the other two were more or less in a state of physical exhaustion and mental weakness. Staring at the bloody crack in the sky that was getting bigger and bigger, and the black mud that was gradually taking shape and contours, and the aura was getting stronger and stronger, emitting an ominous and terrible aura. Luo Shi showed a bitter smile on his face. I'm completely out of strength. There's no hope. Maybe it's a good thing to be eliminated early. The silver-haired girl was also panting. She took out the teleportation stone and crushed it, but it had no effect at all. Lin Junhao's face appeared on the black mud, and he smiled evilly. Tisk tisk, it's useless. The space here is completely under my control. You can't escape. Lin Qingyan clenched her teeth, and her black hair instantly turned ice blue. Suddenly, the sky and the earth darkened, and the temperature dropped rapidly. Ice God Domain. She did not hesitate to consume the remaining physical strength and released a big move. Snow fell all over the sky, and even the thunder froze. The terrifying ice blue cold air turned into a giant snake, roaring and rushing towards the black mud in the air. It's useless. Lin Junhao laughed wildly, and the evil black light shot out, instantly drowning the cold air all over the sky. And turned into a pitch-black sphere, rushing towards Lin Qingyan and others with terrible pressure. Zhang Yuan swung his sword. The 100-meter-long sword energy fell into the pitch-black sphere, like a mud cow entering the sea, and was swallowed up in an instant, without causing any waves. As long as the bloody crack in the sky is still there, he can only use the power of the original body. We are equivalent to facing a king-level creature. There is no way to win. Lin Qingyan gritted her teeth. Seeing the pitch-black sphere getting closer and closer, she couldn't help but burst out a swear word. What are the Education Bureau and the 10 Lords doing? Why haven't you sent anyone over? Do you expect us candidates to resist a king-level creature invading reality? Or is it that the abyss has invaded in large numbers? The pitch-black sphere came over the few people, like a black sun, and the area where the black light shone was crushed by the huge gravity and began to gradually collapse. No hope. Luo Shi closed her eyes in despair. The silver-haired girl held the staff and squeezed her mental power to release the barrier to resist. I can't die here. I promised my sister. I can't die here either. It would be too embarrassing for the reborn empress to die in the high school entrance examination. Lin Qingyan gritted her teeth and shouted to Zhang Yuan, "Hey, give me 30 seconds." Zhang Yuan glanced at her. 30 seconds, right, but... Before he finished speaking, the dark sphere above his head suddenly cracked, and a dark and deep light overflowed from it. The moment when the terrifying energy was about to explode. Suddenly, a giant hand emitting blue light, formed by countless data fragments, appeared, grabbed the dark sphere and squeezed it into nothingness. Everything happened in a flash. Zhang Yuan and others had no time to react. A blurry figure emitting blue light appeared in the air, standing in the air, emitting a terrifying momentum that reached the sky and the earth. At the same time, a voice sounded in the Four People's Spiritual Sea. I am Bai Huang, the director of the Education Bureau of Zhang Province. I'm sorry I'm late. You have done a good job to hold on until now. The four people were refreshed when they heard it. The rescue finally came. But then, Bai Huang's words poured a bucket of cold water on them again. The one who invaded the copy was a king-level beast named Yin Lord. Even I can only block the invasion of his body, but cannot completely destroy it. He has already controlled 30% of the ownership of the copy, so I can't send you away, otherwise he will seize the opportunity to enter the human city. You should also understand the consequences of his appearance in the human city. So, you need to hold on for a while. It seems that he sensed his arrival. Lin Junhao stared at him on the black mud and sneered. He, Bai Huang, it's you. You've fallen from the king realm to the 9th level, and now you still want to stop me. You're overestimating yourself. A huge eyeball appeared in the bloody crack, staring at Bai Huang, emitting a terrifying red light. Bai Huang raised his hand and released a data stream like a waterfall, colliding with the red light. Boom boom boom. The sky shook and the earth trembled, and countless thunders flashed. Several weapons wrapped in blue light appeared in front of Zhang Yuan and the other four. Bai Huang's voice sounded, I will cut off the invasion of his body into the copy world. You take these relics to protect yourself. In addition to invading the present world, he wants to kill and pollute you who are expected to become the future strong men of mankind. This is also one of his goals. Hold on for a while, and support will arrive soon. After saying that, he turned into a stream of data and rushed into the blood-red crack in the sky. The filthy sky was shattered in the roar of the king-level creatures, revealing the sunlight representing hope. Zhang Yuan stretched out his hand to grasp the blue light in front of him. The blue light dissipated, revealing an ancient knife. The handle of the knife was like stone, the blade was scarlet like blood, and the tail was connected to a long red chain. As Zhang Yuan held the hilt, the chain automatically bound his arms. Boom! An amazing force surged out of the blade and poured into Zhang Yuan's body through the chain, making him shrouded in golden light and his attributes soaring. Zhang Yuan looked at the ancient knife in his hand in shock. Identification. Relic. Skylock Blood Moon. Effect. Level. Is this a relic? Zhang Yuan murmured. He had read in a book that relics are different from equipment, cannot be forged, and there is no requirement for equipment level. Each one has a unique serial number and ability, containing incredible power and strange abilities. It is extremely rare and can only appear in newly appeared ruins. Some relic can even control the host. Once a relic controlled the host and destroyed a city. So in order to avoid causing social unrest, the Daxia government collected and centrally managed the relic, and prohibited the trading of relic on the Star Domain network. What Lin Qingyan got was a bow. Luo Shi is a ring. Pei Kongyan is a staff. With the power of the relic, the few people who had almost reached their limit regained their fighting ability. Boom! A loud noise came from the sky, and the bloody crack began to close gradually. The black mud was cut off from the source of power, and the face of Lin Junhao who emerged became extremely hideous and distorted. A bunch of ants, dare to ruin my good deeds. I will kill you. In a strange black light, the black mud was completely formed, turning into a humanoid demon creature with skeleton wings, more than 20 meters tall, with countless tentacles extending from its tail and floating in the wind. Abyss Beast Yin Lord's Clone. Grade Lord Boss. Level LV39. Skills Whispering, Splitting, Reproduction, Control, Mental Parasitism, Pollution, Telekinesis, Death Ray, Dark Domain, Curse, Collapse. Evaluation. His level is limited by the copy world, and his strength is far beyond the 4th level. If you meet him, just close your eyes and wait for death. The blood bar finally showed up. Finally, the blood bar is showing. Zhang Yuan said, with a grin on his face, sharpening his knife to the pigs and sheep. I'm not afraid of your blood bar being long, I'm afraid of you not having any blood bar. He held the relic, Skylock Blood Moon, in his right hand and the Black Tang sword in his left hand, and took a step forward. Boom! In an instant, a terrifying flame emitting infinite power, containing death and vitality, burst out from his body. Lin Qingyan and the other 2 girls couldn't help but turn their heads to look, and their eyes flashed with shock, astonishment, and horror at the same time. Just see. The young man in front of him had flowing black hair and golden eyes like fire, which were wrapped around his body like a flame cloud. While repairing his injuries, he also burned the air around him, raising his momentum several times. The immortal phoenix flame appeared in front of people for the first time. Even if the power was controlled, the terrifying heat emitted instantly melted the surrounding ice and rushed towards him with a blazing flame. Black and red flames. Luo Shi was extremely shocked. Could it be, this is the talent he awakened? Pei Kongyan couldn't help but take a half step back, his face pale. From the flame, she felt extreme danger. It seemed that once it was contaminated, even the soul would be burned. It was terrible. Lin Qingyan was more moved than the 2. Feeling that the cold air emitted by her absolute zero was completely suppressed by the flame. Her inner shock was not small. You know, she is an SS-level freezing talent. The absolute top sequence of the freezing system and even the natural system, but it was suppressed. Could it be SSS-level sequence talent? Lin Qingyan's heart was shaken, and a storm was set off. Come on, King of the Abyss, let me see how strong you are. Zhang Yuan laughed wantonly, and the molten blood surged in his body. Light and heat gushed out of his body, turning into circles of air waves sweeping in all directions. At this moment, he turned into a human beast in Luo Zai's eyes. He was actually provoked by a human ant. The Yin Lord's clone was angry. Ignorant ant. He raised his finger, a red light flashed, and a red light containing the breath of death instantly descended on Zhang Yuan's head. Boom! Accompanied by a huge explosion, a large pit with a diameter of 100 meters appeared on the spot. Luo Shi used the barrier created by the relic goddess's protection to protect Lin Qingyan and Pei Kongyan. And Zhang Yuan disappeared. How fast! Zhang Yuan seemed to teleport to the side of Yin Ju's clone, and swung his sword to cut. Clang! A dark barrier blocked the blade wrapped with the undead phoenix flame, making a crisp sound. Flame snake. Zhang Yuan silently chanted, and more than a dozen black and red flame snakes transformed by the undead phoenix flame rushed out of his body, rushing towards Yin Ju's clone with the power to burn everything. Chi chi chi. The barrier was burned out with a big hole. HMPH. Yin Ju's clone glanced at the incoming black and red flames with some fear, snorted coldly, and the black gas burst out, instantly annihilating all the flames. Swish! The tentacles behind him raised, and pulled in the air, pulling Zhang Yuan out. Yin Ju's clone shook again, split into two, and raised his fingers at the same time. A little blood appeared on the fingertips. The next second, the blood light turned into countless light bullets, whistling densely and shooting at Zhang Yuan and the three women below who were flying backwards. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Pei Kongyan held the relic, Sigh of the Dead, and released the power of the relic. The wind of the underworld. A wind that seemed to come from the 9 netherworld blew over, and the attacking light bullets were instantly turned into nothingness. On the ground blown by the wind of the underworld, skeletons began to emerge one after another, forming a skeleton army, and marched towards the Yin Lord's clone in an orderly formation. The 2 Yin Lord clones with Lin Junhao's face sneered, broke off a finger and threw it into the ground. The ground cracked instantly, and countless monster armies formed by the flesh and blood of fierce beasts and black vines crawled out of the cracks and fought against the skeleton army. The empty and broken land instantly turned into a battlefield for the 2 armies. The 2 Yin Lord clones looked at Zhang Yuan and others, and at the same time made extremely cold and harsh voices, but they were full of bewitching, and echoed in the ears of several people like whispers. Humans, ants with short lives, embrace the abyss. The abyss will give you eternal life. Embrace desire. That is your nature. Submit to evil. Evil is the true meaning of the world. Fall into darkness. Darkness is the destination of all things. Embrace me. Submit to me. Fall. The terrifying whispers continued to spread, causing Luo Shi and Pei Kongyan to half kneel down, their faces pale, feeling nauseous and having splitting headaches. No talking here. Lin Qingyan uttered divine words, and an invisible domain descended, isolating the whispers, which made the 2 feel better. Raising the bow-shaped relic in her hand, shoot through the stars, Lin Qingyan stared at the Yin Lord's clone in the air with cold eyes like a knife. Disgusting thing, it seems that he is not going to let us go. Instead of hiding and waiting for support under his attack, it is better to kill him. She said to Zhang Yuan, who was standing not far away, "What do you think?" "I agree." Quote, Zhang Yuan swung his sword, and the sky-locked blood moon wrapped in black and red flames gently passed through the air. The air twisted, leaving a long-lasting charred arc in the air, and smoke was hissing. Buzz. The purple light flashed on the faces of the 2 Yin Lord clones, and the terrifying pressure descended on the ground. Zhang Yuan stepped forward, released the evil ring, and his own spiritual realm was completely released. Boom! The 2 pressures that were almost condensed into substance collided with each other. One side was filthy and dark, ominous and rich, as huge as the sea. The other side was clear and hot, pure and solid, and as bright as the sun. Colliding together, countless arcs were stirred, and the airwaves rolled. The pressure that was enough to shock ordinary people to faint spread like a wave. What? The 2 Yin Lord clones made shocked voices. This is impossible. How can an ant with such a low level of life have such a pressure spirit? Quote. Lin Qingyan was also shocked. Martial arts pressure can only be mastered by a transferred warrior who has reached the 5th level of life. It is a kind of momentum that transcends the spiritual realm and is formed after the life level is improved. And not everyone can awaken. Only those who have reached a certain level of momentum and have the mentality of being invincible can master it. The earlier you awaken, the greater the probability of crossing that threshold and achieving the king realm. Most people will awaken after the 7th level. In the previous life, Lin Qingyan became a 4th level transferred warrior and awakened the 3rd talent. Only then did he have the spirit and mentality of a strong man, and the spiritual realm was completely pure, so he had martial arts pressure. And he actually had it at the 2nd level. Impossible. Just ants, just ants. In anger, the Yin Lord's clone created another round of light bullets and shot them at Zhang Yuan. Zhang Yuan held the relic, Skylock Blood Moon, and slashed forward. One knife flow. Armor cracked. Silver cut. Shuila. The scarlet knife light flew out with the immortal phoenix flame, sweeping over the light bullets. Before the light bullets could get close to explode, they were burned in midair by the extreme high temperature. Chi chi chi. Lin Qingyan reacted, and now was not the time to think about those things. She gathered her spirit, condensed the absolute cold air into arrows, and slowly pulled the bowstring of shoot through the stars with her bare hands, consuming all her physical strength to activate the effect of this relic. Absolute hit. Innate martial arts, Ice God's arrow. Quote. Lin Qingyan whispered and released her fingers. A flash of cold blue light flashed across the sky. Before the 2 Yin Lord clones could react, they were shot through the barrier defense by an ice arrow containing absolute freezing power and hit in the chest. What? The terrifying cold air burst out. The bodies of the 2 Yin Lord clones were instantly frozen. Take advantage of now. Lin Qingyan shouted at Zhang Yuan with a pale face. She didn't need to say it. Zhang Yuan had already performed Star Explosion and entered the Star Explosion state. He was covered in blood flames and instantly came in front of the 2 frozen Yin Lord clones. Star Explosion state plus Undead Phoenix Flame plus Relic Amplification plus Fire Power. Let his momentum at this moment rise to the front at an unprecedented height. The relic in his hand, Heavenlock Blood Moon, absorbed a large amount of Undead Phoenix Flame, and the blade turned from scarlet to pitch black, emitting white smoke and emitting a terrifying high temperature that was enough to burn the sky and boil the sea. Kai, feeling the danger, the single eye on the frozen bodies of the 2 Yin Lord clones flashed, bursting out with a pitch black light. Crack. The ice cracked. The void twisted, and several black thunders suddenly appeared, slashing towards Zhang Yuan's head with a cold breath of death. Zhang Yuan, with a pair of golden eyes flashing with magical rainbow light, also swung his sword at the same time. Performing a new move created by Supreme Analysis. Innate Martial Arts. Rising Sun Blade. Remnant Fire Funeral. The sword was cut off, and the sword was cut off. Sunrise Blade. The remaining fire is used to send off the dead. The sword fell. The sky and the earth suddenly became bright. Everywhere the blade passed, everything it cut was instantly wiped out. The frozen bodies of the 2 Yin Lord clones were like being erased by an eraser, turning into pale ashes and dissipating into nothingness. Impossible. The Yin Lord's shocked and angry roar came from the shrinking blood-red crack. Bai Huang, who turned into a data ocean to suppress the crack, turned his head and looked, and was surprised. Countless pale ashes were floating between heaven and earth. A round of scorching sun appeared above the earth. The entire sea of trees King Court turned into scorched earth in an instant. The breath of the Yin Lord's clone completely disappeared. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Bai Huang was deeply shocked. Even though the Yin Lord's clone was limited to the 4th level by the rules of the dungeon world, its strength was definitely comparable to that of a 5th level boss. Even a team of 5th level warriors would have to work hard to defeat it. I brought the relics with me just to allow them to protect themselves and hold on until support arrived. But I didn't expect it. They actually killed the Yin Lord's clone. It's simply incredible. As the sun gradually shrank towards the center, the darkness in the sky completely dissipated, the abyss power that eroded the dungeon world quickly retracted, and the blood-colored cracks closed rapidly. There is no doubt that this invasion has failed. Ding. You killed the Yin Lord's clone LV39 and gained experience plus 58,922. Ding. Your level is increased. The current level is LV19, all attributes plus 10, and you get 10 points of free attributes. Ding. You killed the Yin Lord's clone and obtained the dark gold equipment, Fallen Black Robe. Ding. You killed the Yin Lord's clone and obtained the exclusive skill, Hand of Plunder. Ding. You killed the Yin Lord's clone and obtained the item, Taboo Fragment 1/10. Ding. You obtained Awakening Stone 1. Ding. You obtained. Standing on the edge of the huge pit, Zhang Yuan listened to the prompt in his ear, exhaled lightly, and a long-lost look of fatigue appeared on his face. Really tired, looking down at the scarlet skylock blood moon in his hand. Just now, at the moment of swinging the knife down, he understood the effect of the relic in his hand in his mind. Skylock blood moon ability, killing God. Consume half of the health value. Ignore all recovery and regeneration skills, increase the critical damage caused by 10 times, and have a 1% chance of triggering the instant death effect. Although the instant death effect was not triggered, but it was also with the power of this relic that he successfully created a natural martial art that combined martial arts and talents. Rising Sun Blade. Funeral with remnant fire. Concentrate all the blood and immortal phoenix flames in the body of the blade, making the temperature reach more than 30 million degrees, and burst out at the moment of the slash. If it were not for this relic, if he changed his equipment, the blade would probably have been melted by the extreme high temperature before it was slashed. Empty, empty, empty. The extremely angry Yin Lord on the other side of the crack did not want to give up, and burst out with terrifying power to bombard the sky, trying to break through the connection between the abyss and the copy world. The data sea was blasted open. In Bai Huang's angry and ugly face. The bloody crack in the sky expanded again, and a huge purple eye appeared in it, angry and cold, overlooking everything. He looked at Zhang Yuan and others and uttered a vicious curse. Die. Boom boom boom. The charred earth of the Sea of Trees King Court began to collapse. At the moment when the fatal force was about to crush the life candles of Zhang Yuan and others, an extremely brilliant light lit up in the sky, turning into a barrier engraved with countless mysterious curses, covering Zhang Yuan and others, blocking the attack. Little friend, are you all right? A pleasant voice, like the sound of a spring, rang in the ears of Zhang Yuan and others. Look up. A woman with a splendid body, holding a magic wand, and only a slender figure in the lower half of her face could be vaguely seen appeared in the air. Sacred, noble, majestic, mysterious, but with an incredible affinity. Luo Shi and Pei Kongyan stared at her blankly, as if they were looking at a god. Lin Qingyan recognized her, one of the 10 nobles of Daxia, a quasi-king state. Yuan Ling, it's amazing that you can hold on until now. She smiled at Zhang Yuan and others below, leave it to us adults next. She waved the staff in her hand, and a teleportation array appeared under Zhang Yuan and others, flashing white light. Seeing that Zhang Yuan and others were about to disappear in the teleportation array. The shadow of the abyss world. The Lord roared and attacked, and the purple eye burst out with dazzling purple light, turning into countless death runes and rushing towards Zhang Yuan and others. HMPH. Yuan Ling snorted coldly, and 13 giant magic arrays took shape in an instant, and countless terrifying beams of light shot out from them. While annihilating the death runes, the purple eye in the air was shattered without stopping. Bai Huang took the opportunity to condense the data flow into 2 blue giant hands and close the cracks. The Lord of Yin on the other side could only curse unwillingly and angrily. The one who killed my clone. I will remember you. In the near future, your city and your relatives will all die in front of you in the most miserable way. Zhang Yuan raised a middle finger, and the next second it turned into white light and completely disappeared in the teleportation array. Nanzhong Martial Arts No. 1 Middle School. Principal Lu He and other strong men stood solemnly on the playground and stared at the sky. The previous space distortion and the strange phenomenon of black thunder interweaving had disappeared, and there was peace. The strange phenomenon disappeared. Has the incident been resolved? Suddenly, the magic circle on the playground lit up, and 3 balls of white light emerged. Under everyone's gaze, Zhang Yuan, Lin Qingyan and Luo Shi appeared in the white light. Seeing the 3 people, Lu He and the teachers breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that nothing happened. The students standing in a safe area not far away were instantly shocked. It's Goddess Lin and Goddess Luo Shi. Fortunately, the 2 school beauties are fine. That boy is Zhang Yuan from class 3. The one ranked first. Hiss, he's so handsome. I'm convinced by Peng Yuyan. Not only is he handsome, but he's also strong. I've never heard of anyone getting more than 1,300 points in the college entrance examination. Higher damage than I can deal. It's outrageous. Xiao Shi. Luo Shi turned her head and saw Luo Ningyan, and her eyes reddened. Mom. Thinking of herself falling into desperate situations several times in a row and feeling the threat of death, she couldn't help but throw herself into Luo Ningyan's arms and buried her head in the snowy peaks. Mom, I almost couldn't see you. Luo Ningyan's expression froze, and she asked, what happened? I'm so tired, let me sleep for a while. Luo Shi said tiredly, closing her eyes. Her spirit had been tense until now, and she had already reached her limit. Seeing her fall asleep peacefully in her arms, Luo Ningyan turned her eyes to Zhang Yuan and Lin Qingyan beside her. Lin Qingyan put the bow-shaped relic into the warehouse. Except for her pale face, her expression was normal, her black hair was like a waterfall, and she was independent from the world. Lin Qingyan and Luo Shi were like two bright moons that radiated light all the time, but at this moment, people's attention was more attracted by the big sun on the field. Luo Ningyan was no exception. She looked at the black-haired and golden-eyed boy on the field with a curious expression and bright eyes. Is he Zhang Yuan? Under the gaze of everyone in the field, Zhang Yuan stood on the playground holding the relic Heavenlock Blood Moon. His 1.80-meter-tall figure was as tall as a spear, and his body was covered with scars. The battle-damaged boy stood there, and that area seemed to be his domain. His young and handsome face was calm, and his pair of golden eyes were as cold as lightning, exuding an invisible but terrifying aura. The female anchor looked at Zhang Yuan with her beautiful squid eyes and shouted excitedly. Everyone, look, he is the biggest dark horse in Zhang province this year. He is Zhang Yuan. At this moment, her live broadcast room was also in an uproar. Oh my god, so handsome. This is the top scorer in Zhang province this year. What a strong aura. One look from him scares me even through the screen. You call him a college entrance examination candidate. What weapon is he holding? He looks very powerful. Rare equipment, probably. Oh my god, it's him. Do you know him? I own a rice noodle shop. A month ago, he came to my shop with his friends to eat rice noodles. At that time, he looked like an ordinary teenager. No, I think he should put up a sign. The dark horse is dark all the way. This time he is really going to soar into the sky. If my son can be 1/10 of him, no, 100th, I will kowtow to him and call him dad. Is he the number one Zhang Yuan? Sha Qinghu looked at him solemnly, feeling a huge sense of oppression from Zhang Yuan. Although he had heard of him before, he didn't care too much. He didn't think anyone in the school could threaten his position as the number one prodigy. But at this moment, seeing Zhang Yuan in person and feeling his aura, Sha Qinghu could not help but start to take him seriously. This guy seems to have become stronger again. Not far away, Qin Nansen thought while looking at Zhang Yuan with gritted teeth, with a trace of fear in his eyes. That slap has become an indelible shadow in his heart. Zhang Yuan noticed the gazes of the two and glanced at them. Now he has not recovered from the tense fighting state of facing the Lord of Yin. This glance contained his fighting will and martial arts pressure, with an extremely hot and pure spiritual power. It crushed the spiritual realm of Sha Qinghu and Qin Nansen. All the fighting spirit and pride of these two top geniuses in Nanjing City were shattered together. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. The two turned pale in an instant, looking at Zhang Yuan as if looking at a terrifying beast, full of horror and fear, and trembling all over. Lu He and others who saw this scene not far away were shocked. A 17-year-old boy could actually possess such momentum and pressure. Class teacher Zhang Yiming was shocked. Is this still Zhang Yuan? He had seen Zhang Yuan. I felt a strong sense of oppression. Is this the student I know? The admissions teachers of the 4 major universities looked at him with shining eyes. That look just now seemed to have the shadow of martial arts pressure. Not only is his combat power amazing, but his spiritual realm is also extremely strong, far beyond the second level. This is the biggest dark horse of this session, the top scholar in Zhang province. It's really extraordinary. We must take him down. The people in the Moyu live broadcast room exploded when they saw this scene. Oh my god, just one look made two geniuses tremble in fear. Is this the value of the top scholar in Zhang province? Too amazing. That's Sha Qinghu and Qin Nansen. It's just the first look. This. I don't understand, but I'm shocked. The pressure from that look just now was too strong. I felt like my heart was being grabbed by someone's hand even through the screen. Hiss. Me too. It feels the same as facing my director. By the way, our director is a 7th level transfer warrior. Even if it's the top scholar, the gap is too big. Now the two geniuses will have psychological trauma. I have a feeling that the name Zhang Yuan will become a shadow in the hearts of countless geniuses. What the hell? What the hell? What did I see? The students were stunned. Everyone stared at the playground with their eyes wide open. This is the first time I've seen Xia Qinghu and Qin Nansen show such fearful expressions. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. In front of a real evildoer, a genius also looks so dim. Too scary. I feel like a look can kill me. Why isn't such a strong person me? God Zhang, this is a real god. The students were in an uproar. The boys looked at Zhang Yuan with envy, awe, fear, and terror in their eyes, and they didn't even dare to look at him twice. And the girls all had bright eyes, admiration in their hearts, and looked at Zhang Yuan with red cheeks. The legs rubbed unconsciously under the school uniform skirt, and the wet eyes were full of intoxication and admiration. After gaining an additional 10 points of charm, Zhang Yuan's already handsome face became even more handsome, with a kind of magic that can attract attention. A boy who is an awakened elementalist and sensitive to elements in the air is a bit strange. Hey, why is the water element in the air suddenly becoming more concentrated? Oh, it should be the return of the South Heaven. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.